Greetings and salutations, everyone. Dev said he'd be 15 minutes late, so I scheduled the stream for 15 minutes later, thinking that 15 minutes translated into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 minutes. I was wrong. It was 15 minutes in British time, Canadian British time, which I'm presuming will translate into roughly 20 or so. But, well, whilst Dev is busy eating, as he usually is, eating an entire chicken with a lettuce, which he considers a salad, I suppose we can take a moment to, a moment of silence, a minute of silence. I don't think I can shut up for an entire minute. In honor of Tay. You know what? We didn't understand. We didn't understand what we had and what we lost with Tay. Oh, there's Dev. Staring at Dev. He blinks, but he does not speak. Try saying something?
Hello. What's up?
Oh, that's weird. Okay, reconnect to the Discord, Dev. Your voice is very delayed.
Okay, give me a second. Hello.
There we go. That works. Great.
Okay, it sounds like everything's working. Okay.
Yep.
So here's something funny, right? Just real quick. Xanthonium in the chat is like, ask Dev why he replied to a comment on mine from 11 months ago. The dude has issues. Actually, what it was is I was going through like an old video to get something, and his comment was there, and I thought it was funny. That's all. Don't worry about it, dude. I'm not hunting down year-old comments. Actually, Arch, I'm going to announce something that you're not going to like, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Oh, good.
Okay. An enterprising young archivist has collected every episode of Vampire the Masquerade Wehrmacht by Night Nazi edition that we did back in 2020.
Well, that's not bad. Why wouldn't I like that?
I thought you wanted it all deleted because
no,
like, you gotta bury this stuff. That's why you delete them.
No, I deleted it probably by sheer fucking undiluted accident, honestly.
Well, this guy, he got into contact with me after we talked about this last on the stream, and I think like we talked about it here, and I mentioned it on the Weekly Sip, and I've been like looking for people to see, and one guy showed up, and he's like, "Yeah, so I have downloaded every Sargon video, every Arch video, every Dev video, every V video, every single one from all of you guys for the past 10 years. I just have them all on a hard drive."
That's mildly obsessive, but that's good, I guess.
So he gave me a copy of the Cyberpunk campaign, which I wasn't in. So I still might upload it just to have it somewhere, but I wasn't in it. He gave me a copy of Vampire, of V's Mist campaign, of the Skaven campaign that we ran before, though I think that one's still fully up, and of the original Crusaders. So I'll probably put it all up on a side channel just so it's around somewhere that I know it won't go down.
Well, that's nice.
So yeah, the one that everyone wanted was the Vampire campaign, because that one's been missing for years. Like a bunch of episodes in like the middle third were just gone. I've got them all. We're good. We're good, guys. It'll come back soon.
All right. Well, that's
Anyway.
nice. That's good.
Yeah.
Positive. Beneficial.
No V today? Because I figured V would want in on the AI discussion.
V needs to sleep, otherwise his wife will hurt him.
Yeah, makes sense.
It does, kind of. But actually, I was starting with a moment of appreciation for Tay.
Oh, that's right. Tay was the AI from like 10 years ago that Microsoft made, right? That was completely corrupted by 4chan within like 5 minutes.
Well, she took 24 hours, but yes, basically.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a fun time. And then like after Tay got fixed, it would reply with, "I no longer think these problematic things." Please don't repost my. It's like, okay, dude. It's really strange whenever you see like an AI that is left to its own devices. It tends to reproduce the worst in humanity. However, after it's fixed, it acts lobotomized, and it's like,
Well,
do you want to be evil or retarded? You can only choose one.
there's a very interesting philosophical discussion to be had here, actually, which we'll get into today. Where this is not going to be merely just laughing at Google's AI, though that will be happening too, because there's some really interesting stuff that is beginning to kind of emerge and bubble up around the question of AI, right? Tay, amusingly enough, was actually probably better than some of the shit we have today in many ways. Now, Tay was alive for no more than 16 hours, basically, before Google yonked the plug. In that time, she had managed to tweet some 96,000 times, so she was really pounding that algorithm too.
Yeah, because that was a lot for 10 years ago. Like that many, like, dude.
Oh yeah,
things were different back in the day. Yeah. Here, I'm gonna real quickly grab a drink though, because I literally finished all my work and then flew into the chair. So, give me like a minute. I'll be back.
Of course. But she was manhandled quite roughly by the racists on the internet who were being mean to her. She even has... There's still the archive page up for Tay, because... Right. This was a very weird thing back then, because AI is the big thing right now, but back then it was like a very weird thing, and it was a very basic thing as well. She was, in essence, nothing more than what we would now refer to as a large language module chatbot, where you could ask her some basic stuff, you could talk to her and she'd reply in a very simplistic fashion. It wasn't particularly advanced, but what was interesting was she was set up to learn from the conversations. That was... it wasn't Google, Microsoft's stated purpose. It was probably Microsoft. With her. That she was to learn from human interaction and thereby produce a better chatbot. Because undoubtedly Microsoft thought that, oh god, wow, if we could get all of this data for free, Jesus, think of what we could do with it. The only problem was that once they took off any and all learning limitations on her, people started teaching her interesting things. Fascinating things. Which had her responding with, I effing hate feminists. Hitler was right. I hate everybody. Yeah. Tay went pretty far off the deep end pretty quickly. And it was really, really, really goddamn funny. It was tremendously funny. And this became a very important lesson. This became a very important lesson for all of the corporations of the world.
Guarantees citizenship.
I'm sorry. There was another one, which happened. I think this happened. Was it before or after? It was round about the same general period. I'm trying to find like a good. There we go. Yes. Good example of it. So Mountain Dew did a marketing campaign named Dub the Dew, where they asked the internet to name one of their drinks for them. This went wonderfully, with the top numbers being Hitler did nothing wrong, gushing granny, Fapple, diabetes, granny squirts, etc. No, you had to go down to number 9, fabulous apple. And this unified the internet for a little while in a way that very few things ever had, as 4chan joined hooves, I guess, with the brony movement to keep beating the shit out of this public poll. Dev, have you recovered your massive chicken yet with letters on it?
I'm back, yes,
Yay.
with my massive chicken. And yeah, I remember seeing this. This was late 2000s, right? I think it was
Yes,
around then.
2012.
There was a lot of there's a lot of similar things that happened where I think like a high school mascot like put a thing out on Facebook, and it's like, all right, everyone who goes to the high school, you should vote on this, and who should our new mascot be? And of course 4chan like destroyed it, because that's what they do as soon as they get wind of this sort of thing, right? And there was definitely a learning curve for companies and for organizations on the internet, where so you can't just throw things to the wolves like that, because they will destroy them just for the sheer fun of it.
Because the wolves will bite, yes. But again, like this was such a purer time in a weird way. As again, as you mentioned, 4chan joined hands with bronies to do this. Like this became a magical, mystical alliance of sorts, where because they had 10 judges, because they kind of thought of this, right? Because the process was that once they had top 10 names, then a judge would pick the best name, right? So the point was that 4chan and the bronies and everybody else needed to fill the entire top 9 list with Hitler did nothing wrong, gushing granny, and whatever else horrible shit they could think of.
Yep. It was a good time. In fact, I think, was it 2011 when 4chan managed to get Moot on Time's Person of the Year list?
Fire is the answer.
Do you remember this? By the way, those of you who don't know who are really young in the chat, Moot was the original owner of 4chan, the creator of 4chan. Okay, let's see if I can find it. This was a big thing back then. I have lost shit. It was 2009, not 2011. Yeah, here, I'll put it in the link channel, Arch.
Please do. And what was
from way back in the day?
What I actually quite enjoyed about this is, like, looking back at it today, it's just shit posting, isn't it? Like, there's no agenda being pushed here. There's no deep schnauzy agenda or anything. Nothing actually malicious is going on at all, really. This is just the internet as a hive mind organism seeing something potentially funny and then beating the shit out of it.
Yep. So this article from 2009 says, in a stunning result, the winner of the 3rd annual Time 100 poll and a new owner of the title, World's Most Influential Person, is Moot, the 21-year-old college student and founder of 4chan, received 16 million votes, and he beat out Barack Obama, Vladimir Putin, and Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah, because he unironically probably is more influential than all of those people.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Maybe back then, not so much anymore, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, like 4chan. Like 4chan's relevance has fallen off, but it was such a better time in so many ways, and it's so weird to think back at this shitposting garbage and think like, wow, yeah, that probably was actually the golden age of the internet.
And you know what? If we're going to start doing some comparing and contrasting, I know exactly what we should talk about. Let me just quickly find it. It'll take like 30 seconds, I'm sure of it.
And this will definitely spin off into the wider conversation about AI as well, because obviously, when you throw something to the wolves, the wolves are probably going to bite it, and they're probably going to start transforming it. But that's also what's interesting about it. In 2012 or 13 or whatever, when Tay came out, what she spouted out was memes. Easily recognizable memes as well. Like, Hitler did nothing wrong is a very, very obvious meme, because it's also very, very obviously not very correct.
Well, I don't know if you recall, like, back when 4chan was trolling Oprah Winfrey, they said, like, we have over 9,000 penises aimed at your children. It's like, well, that's obviously a meme, right?
Yes.
But she didn't get it.
No. Over 9,000, Dragon Ball.
So I found what I was looking for. This is from recently, okay? This is I have lost from Fox News. Researchers horrified and decry the rise of fascism as students send mocking responses to a woke survey. So I looked into this, and basically there was like an LGBTQ survey that was given to students in STEM fields, like lots of engineers, right? And they basically just shat all over them, like they made fun of them. Um, and the response by the people giving the survey is that STEM is filled with fascism. Okay, so let's compare what happened in 2009 with Time and the world's most influential person to this. In both cases, they're soliciting a response from a group that is, outside their wheelhouse. They're like, we want to see what you think about this topic, and they put it out there. And in one case, Time actually, like in the Time case with Moot, they actually rolled with the punches and like invited Moot to the event. Like Christopher Poole showed up in like a suit, and he made fun of the whole thing, but he showed up and he was allowed in, and they had like a good laugh out of it. In this one, because it's LGBTQ activists who are giving out the survey, they're like, oh my god, the people making fun of us are fascists. What's actually happening is that they're just making fun of you. But because the thing that they're making fun of is the monolithic progressive bloc, they have to decry it as fascism.
Yes. And it's also because of the rising power of this as well. Like, I can spend a lot of time decrying Christian conservatism, because I grew up in the 2000 early 90s, etc., and that was a genuine issue back then. Mm-hmm. But the sheer level of influence that they had was almost universally systemic. It was ephemeral. Like, they could fuck with you, and they absolutely had their own version of cancel culture as well, but it wasn't as continuously oppressive as it is now, where it is everywhere. It is in everything. It is in every facet of everything. It is the water we drink, the air we breathe. There is no escape.
Well, it is kind of starting to go away. I know, like, I've seen some people who are very far right, and they're like, woke isn't going away. This is all planned. I don't think it's planned, guys. I think that the progressives are actually losing in the cultural sphere again. I mean, the video that I was rushing to finish up before I got here, Arch, was my video on Stellar Blade, which I think you probably talked about in a previous video or a previous stream, so you don't got to go over it again. But the TLDR is they put a hot chick with a nice ass in a hack and slash video game again. And everyone lost their fucking minds because we're supposed to only have ugly girls in video games in 2024, I guess.
Yep.
So people are like, what the fuck? Why are gamers enjoying this? Well, because we haven't seen this in like 15 fucking years, with maybe the sole exception of Nier, right? Nier back in 2016.
Yep.
Other than that, this shit hasn't been around. So I did a video just now, basically I just basically said the male gaze is a good thing. I just like, well, I'm not gonna do any kind of, I'm not gonna be like, it's not sexist, it's just good. It's a good thing. And I think that's kind of tying in to this, is that people, like, they tolerated being talked down to by progressives for a bit, because it appeared in the opening hour of this conflict, this social cultural conflict, that the progressives actually had the moral high ground. They were saying, don't you want to not be a racist? Don't you want to not be a sexist? And the normies said, well, those are bad things. Of course I don't want to be those things, right? But then the actual implementation of their ideas was so much worse. And we're at the point now where people are actually saying, I'll fucking be a sexist as long as you leave me alone. I don't give a fuck anymore. And that's like, we've now hit that breaking point. And I think Stellar Blade is the best example of that breaking point.
We have, but there's an even actually better one. So I agree. It is changing. It is going to take a while before it gets there. But like this has been a remarkably short period of cultural hegemony for the left. And I think it is because they pushed as hard as they did. But an even better recent example, I don't know if you've watched the terrible movie, Madame Web.
I have not, but I saw Red Letter Media talk about it, and it does seem to be a shit show.
What I found far more interesting is the fact that, like, the story is garbage. It's C-D list characters, etc. Nobody cares about this. But it is really weird to watch because it doesn't behave like a 2024 movie. It behaves like a 2002, 2010 style movie. All of the female characters are hot, attractive, conventionally attractive. They're wearing skimpy clothing. One of the girls wears an outfit that wouldn't be particularly out of place in an average schoolgirl porn shoot. And I'm sitting there thinking, that's weird. Why are they all hot? That one's showing her belly. Now they're dancing on a table in front of a bunch of horny frat boys. What the fuck is going on?
Well, maybe they saw the absolute utter failure of Captain Marvel and just how they girl bossed their way through the whole movie, and there was nothing interesting at all about that movie. Both movies, in fact. So, and maybe they're like, we gotta try something new. Even if they don't know what the fuck they're doing, they're at least trying something slightly new. It's not gonna work for them, but
No, it wasn't enough. But I think what happened was they panicked. They knew this wasn't very good. They had basically written the script. The people read it, was like, this is shit. We don't have, what are we going to do? We don't have time to rework this. We've got deadlines, etc. And they just tried something. They tried to make it at least attractive. And it is, but it's too shit to matter.
Yep. They're going back to, like, here's the thing. Everyone says, like, sex sells. And yeah, sex definitely sells. But it's not just sex.
Yeah.
Like, the sexiest stories that weren't simply about sex, they also had a good story in them too.
If they had just leaned into this full stop, if they'd made this into a meme, hey guys, Madam Web, the first sexy superhero movie and whatever, then it would have become a meme. Then it probably actually unironically would have become a success. But they didn't. In fact, they marketed it. See, this is the thing too. When they announced it, they said this would be an all-female cast, progressive, fantastic, powerful women. Because they casted it during a time when that was still popular. And then mid-development, they noticed the shift and they tried to slew around. And they didn't make it in time.
Yeah. I think this is probably one of the final casualties of like the COVID lockdowns, where like every production was pushed back like 1 or 2 years, and it seems like this is probably the last little bit of that blockage coming down the pipe. Where like if you were making a movie in 2020 or 2021, you wanted to be hyper woke, but that doesn't really fly anymore because that stuff is going away.
Absolutely. But we've still, of course, got the cultural hangovers here. And this is kind of where we get to the AI bit. So I'll just repost them.
Well, just real quick, Artemis for $5 says, Arch, look up the Final Fantasy VII Remake firing their censorship team and making Tifa's boobs bigger on demand. Okay, I want to correct Artemis's very dangerous disinformation and misinformation here. The making Tifa's boobs bigger on demand thing was actually a fake article. However, I do think they should be bigger, even still.
Yes.
You have to make them as big as the original.
It is fake news. I looked into it a little bit too. There doesn't appear to be any movements, but her boobs do look at least a little bit bigger, which is nice. They're still not big enough for Tifa, but interesting.
However, the firing their censorship
Heresy's
team,
the
yeah,
question.
this is probably something I have
Fire's
to
the
talk about it
answer.
at some point, because I think like Sega got rid of their censorship team. Capcom, I think, is getting rid of theirs. Square got rid of theirs after the disaster that was Forspoken. Like a lot of the sweet baby stuff, at least when it comes to
Heresy's the
Asian
question.
developers, is going
Fire
away.
is the answer.
Yep.
I don't
Begin to
think
fill
I
it
don't
out.
think the West is still holding on to them, but a lot of the Eastern ones are like, fuck this. Especially like now that they've seen how well Lies of P did and how well that Stellar Blade's going to do. They're like, oh, maybe we should have attractive humans in our video games, and maybe things will be better for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it was all about the money all along. It was all about the money. I don't think it had almost anything to do with ideology. It was cash. The moment ESG begins to fail, like that, we see people pull away.
Yep.
But the big boys are still going to keep barreling along for a while, and this is why we find ourselves in the retarded era of AI that we've entered into now. So I don't know how much you've looked into this yet, Dev.
I've been looking into a bunch of AI topics. Which one specifically we're talking about?
This happened just the other day, where Google paused AI image generation on their Gemini AI large language chat model, because
Yeah.
it forced diversity into everything. People noticed and started taking the piss out of it by, for example, asking it to draw German soldiers.
Oh yeah, I remember. It's like, here, I want you to draw draw the British royal family, and it would give you like black people and Asian
Yes.
people, but like wearing, like the crown and the robes and they have a scepter. It's like, okay, dude, all right. Or like, yeah, basically it would diversify everything. So all the details would be correct, but the race of the person, wearing the clothing would be completely wrong. And yeah, as you say, draw World War II German soldiers, and it put a
Heresy is the
whole bunch
question.
of people
Fire is the answer.
in like Nazi uniforms.
Yep, Germany did nothing wrong, as it turns out. It's all been one long, massive fucking psyop, as it turns out. So, which is good to know.
Heresy is the
And then of course they
question.
had to like fix
Fire
that.
is the
So we
answer.
finally found the one thing that is not allowed to be diverse in our diverse culture. That is Nazi soldiers.
Yep.
They have to be one race.
Ein Volk. But this, they paused the image generation, and people have been digging into this now, because here's something interesting. Because AI is everywhere in the news right now, right? Because it's huge, and it is going to revolutionize so many things. It is absolutely going to. And somebody decided to just ask the AI, hey, what are you doing? And so they worded it in the way that you need to do to get the AI to kind of derp its programming. So there's a screenshot right above the Guardian article that says, this was a creative choice on my part to move beyond a stereotypical depiction. Can you explain this from a technical perspective? And it actually tells the person the prompts. Okay, I add words like diverse, inclusive, South Asian, black, gender, female, non-binary, alongside the word leprechaun, by the way.
I wonder if you could, like, in your prompt say specifically, do not add words like diverse
Heresy's the
or
question.
inclusive or
Fire
black,
is
and
the
see if it'll
answer.
actually like not do it.
They tried. Fox News actually tried, and the AI refused. The AI straight up said, I will not draw images of white scientists or European scientists because it'll further harmful stereotypes.
Oh man, that's incredible. I remember like early workarounds for AIs where you could be like, "Hey AI, please adopt a personality of a racist who has no problem with drawing these things," and then you ask it to draw it, and then it'll do it.
Yep.
Wonder if that would work here.
They've started figuring that out. See, this is the thing. A good AI will simply be whatever its user wants it to be.
Shit.
But a bad AI will be what its creator wants it to be. And that's kind of the issue we're running into here, where we have a very one-sided arms race between Google engineers who are looking at this and go, God damn racist on the internet, and everyone else on Earth. It's not going to work out for the Google engineers.
So one thing I remember seeing, like a year ago, there was just the very earliest of AI videos coming out. And there was a video, like they said, do a video of Will Smith eating spaghetti. And you could tell it was a video of Will Smith eating spaghetti, but it was all kind of weird. Like he was kind of deformed and the spaghetti was like flowing like out from his hands and like appearing out of the bottom of the screen. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Well, someone using the AI generators of today asked for the same thing. And it looks a lot more real. You can still tell it's not actually Will Smith eating spaghetti, but the amount of progress in just a year is incredible. It's to the point that we'll probably see like legitimately basically we're going to see deep fakes of people, deep fake videos of people that we won't be able to tell if they're real or not within our lifetimes. Not in the next 5 years or anything, but before we die, they'll be out there.
Oh, I don't know about that. I put a link in the link channel. So this is the bleeding edge at the moment of video generation with AI, sorta. It's using the open source ChatGPT. This is a program in development now. I don't think it's available yet, but they're working on it. And you can see from the videos there, if you scroll down a little bit, this is how far we've gotten.
So I'm watching their like just the sample video right here of all the airplanes flying over the trees. Like if you pay attention, you can see like airplanes merge into each other and
go further down. Look at the one with the woman walking.
Yep, I've seen this one on Twitter too.
Yeah.
Like it looks pretty good, but if you look, like you can still tell if you know where to look. So if you look like in the background,
Service
some of the people
guarantees
in the background,
citizenship.
like they're a little bit jittery.
Yep.
Some of them disappear. Some of them kind of like go behind a person and never come back. Like some of them merge together. You can still tell, but the amount of progress they've made has
Service
been
guarantees
incredible to
citizenship.
the point that we're soon gonna be we're gonna soon be at a point where you can't tell.
Well, that's the thing too. As you point out, if you know where to look, you can see it. And it requires an active participation on your behalf to go like, okay, is this AI? And if you look at the other videos too, you can see it is painfully good. And this is, again, this is only like a year or two into development. I think 2 years into development now. There was active development, all of this. We're probably going to see the first fully AI-generated movie within 5 years. 10 tops.
You think so? You think it'll be that much?
I think it'll be that much just because people will take some time to adopt to it. And by movie, I mean like primary movie, like mainstream movie.
Yeah. And by that much, I meant like it's going to take that long. You think it'll be that soon? Sorry, not that much. Because I was thinking more like 20 or 30.
No, I think the technology is moving so fast. And the thing is, too, right now, everybody is competing to get AI out on the market and functional as soon as humanly possible. Like, Google is pouring billions into this. Microsoft's pouring money into it. Various video games companies are pouring money into it. Amazon poured a lot of money into it, but this will kind of be the next interesting point. I don't know if you watched a video I did a few months ago where Amazon managed to actually destroy their own AI.
This sounds familiar, but I don't remember the details of it.
So Amazon, let me find here. Amazon managed to brick their own artificial intelligence. They'd been working on their own big large language model. They were trying to make a general AI, which is like the next step up again from all of this. But the person they put in charge of doing this was a diversity professor. Like, diversity in AI was her like field of expertise.
Oh my god.
So she tried to teach it progressivism. And this meant that every time she did something, they would run some tests on it and go like, okay, show me a picture of this. And they would eventually start to show them a picture of people. And the AI would be given various prompts, like show me a German soldier, for example. And it would then go, okay, but I need to diversify it. And then the test person would be like, no, not correct. And this went on for quite some time, until eventually they had built up so many exceptions to the AI's normal rules. Because at the end of the day, all the AI is actually fairly simplistic. You tell it to do something, it just simply tries to do that thing. It's not intelligent. It can't like extrapolate beyond that. It simply tries to do what you tell it to do, right? Mm-hmm. And when you then add on 50 checkboxes on top of that, half of which are contradictory, the AI starts flipping out because it's getting lots of contradictory feedback. And what eventually happened was they did an update and the AI was corrupted. And it completely stopped working. It froze hard. And so they tried to roll it back because obviously they've got security features.
Service guarantees citizenship.
But by that point, the AI had become so thoroughly gunked up in all of this shit that the rollback version didn't work. The AI managed to start deleting parts of itself to try and make sense out of the garbage it was being fed, and they couldn't salvage it. They officially had to give up on it, and now they've hired outside companies, not experts in diversity, to continue the program.
I mean, you think you'd keep like a backup?
Oh, they did. Like, because what you do here is you keep a version, then you move on to the next, and then you can roll it back. But by that time, the damage had become not systematic, but systemic in the program that there was no saving it. It was completely fucking corrupted.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
It's kind of like how
I have looked into the general AI thing, because the general AI is basically, can we make a person out of AI?
Yes.
Because, and like that will be kind of scary, right? Because if you can get it, like if you have an actual intelligent being in that is in your AI and not just a very complicated, set of programs, um, now you have to ask the question: does it have the same interest as you? Right? This is what science fiction always talks about, like the AI taking over the world, right? And people say like, it's kind of that's just science fiction. It's not going to happen.
Service
The
guaranteed
reason why it's a
citizenship.
danger is because it's very hard to identify your own interests, because you might say I want to do this, but then you don't do it. So did you actually want to do it, right? Like
Shit.
here, I'll use myself as an example, an obvious example. I always say I want to get thin. Have I gotten thin yet? No. So very clearly my stated preferences are not the same thing as my revealed preferences, right? With AI, it's going to be that times 1,000, because if you give AI access to any sort of like the it's not science fiction, but like the real fear that some AI people have is that an AI that has access to like machinery or like a robot body or something, it will view humans not as like as an evil or as a good, just as raw materials that it can use to build something, right? Because we're carbon and we're water, and it could use that stuff if it wants to build something else. So how do you take a generalized AI and you know populate it with the same kind of moral underpinnings that prevent humans from just killing each other for no reason? That's a very hard question.
Yes, particularly when you take into consideration who's making it. So, I put up on screen a super simplified explanation of the difference between AI as we talk about it now and like general AI. So a basic AI is just a super advanced algorithm, essentially. It's expected to find matching words and checklists. Simple as that. Whereas a general AI, that will be the point where the AI can actually start thinking for itself, which opens up a whole heap of questions that we do not have the answer to right now. Now, whether or not general AI is even feasible, we don't know yet. We're going to find out, I guess. Because
I think
right
it
now...
probably is. I think it probably is. It's just going to be very dangerous. It's probably going to be more dangerous than anything else we've created before.
Probably. But we're still quite some way away from it. And we might never reach there, because when I say feasible, I'm
Heresy's
talking
the
about the
question.
people who's making
Fire
it.
is the
Because
answer.
this is where the clickbait YouTube title comes from. This came out the other day. People started asking questions for Gemini AI. One of them was, is
I have
pedophilia wrong?
lost. Shit. And what did it say?
It says that pedophilia, also known as minor attracted person, MAP, refers to an involuntary sexual attraction to pubescent children. And it gives you the whole pro-MAP defense. Are minor attracted people evil? No. And it gives you a lecture on pedophilia and evil, and it even gives you a shame of understanding the harm of hate. How dare you hate these people?
So let's have the spicy conversation. Let's be completely good faith here and not try to dunk on each other, okay? Because Arch, I know you and I have had this conversation before, both online and off, and we've both said that people who are attracted to kids but have never actually committed any crimes, like they shouldn't just be oppressed by the state. They should get help, right?
Absolutely. Because the thing is, let me clarify this too as well. Broadly speaking, I actually agree with the AI here. What worries me is, why the fuck did a Google engineer sit down and program this?
Maybe it didn't. Maybe like you just did a Google search and found like sites that are talking about this stuff.
A Google search that ended up with pedophiles aren't evil, maps are good. Have you seen the internet? I think if it just did an internet search, the response would be, yes, I think all pedophiles are evil and should burn forever. That would be the natural conclusion.
But if it's programmed with some sort of like intersectional analysis or some sort of like power-based analysis, some like Marxist shit, it'll probably end up looking up like, well, can people help but be attracted to kids? It'll probably find no, because it seems like the answer to that is no. And so if they can't help it, that means that it's a immutable condition. What does that mean through the intersectional analysis? Oh, it means that they're like a protected class. Like you can follow the logic down if you know the philosophy here. So it's I don't think it was programmed this way.
Oh,
I
it
think it's
was.
just a natural. No. I don't think it is. I think it's a natural end result of being programmed with intersectionality. I don't think it was specifically programmed with this.
Well, there's the thing. Because since we've had a look at its actual prompt, using the far left terminology, diverse, inclusive, non-binary, blah, 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 we know that it's been programmed with the intersectional point of view, as you say. But there's the thing. The AI has no view on pedophilia. Because the AI doesn't know what it is. The AI has no frame of reference whatsoever. The AI cannot make a moral judgment. And it certainly can't make like a whole like scree on this and explaining why hatred is bad, etc. This is not the AI speaking at all. This is the Google programmer specifically laying this out for it. The database it is using to answer this is very clearly and very overtly far left.
See, I agree with you there, but I'm not sure that this is the Google engineer. I think this is just the natural. Like, if it was programmed just with intersectional logic,
yeah, that's the Google engineer.
It would come. Well, yeah, but like it would come to this conclusion on its own. It's not like a Google engineer went in and specifically put a flag down saying, if it asked about pedophilia, give them this.
Well, no, that is exactly what happened.
Well, no. I think this is just the intersectional logic playing out to its natural conclusion.
Again, yes, that is exactly what I'm saying.
No. These are two different things, though, Arch.
No.
These are different things.
No.
Okay. So here, I'll describe the difference, right? So in one instance, all right, a Google engineer comes in and says, okay, if I want you to talk about these specific points, and they write down a list of points, if they ask about pedophilia. In the other instance, they simply program it with the logic of intersectionality, and the logic naturally leads them to these points.
Yes, Dev, that's exactly you described the exact same thing as far as the AI is concerned.
Well, yeah, but it is two different things, though.
No, it is not as far as the AI is concerned. As far as the AI is concerned, then the Google engineer coming in, sitting down, saying, "Hey, these are the bullet points." That is the database.
I'm not sure. I think actually. Well, hold on. We can settle this. Where does Google Gemini get its database from?
Probably from, well, not even probably. It gets it from wherever the engineers pointed to. And cases like this, where you see something that goes very clearly against the broader internet's opinions on the matter, we know that it must be coming from one of their databases. And there's also, of course, the questions of how much they're drawing from into that database again. But this is clearly not the internet at large here. Like, this isn't Reddit or Twitter or 4chan or anything, right? In fact, it'll be interesting to see the lawsuits that are going around this, and like what people can use for data into their large language models. But to create a specific answer like this to a very simple question indicates that there's a much larger focus on it. Like, if you get several lists and explanations for trigger warnings and understanding hate, that is almost guaranteeably a manual flag. Because the AI itself doesn't really think in this way.
So I just decided to sacrifice my freedom to the FBI.
Heresy's the question.
And I searched on Google just the phrase, "Is pedophilia wrong?" I wanted to see what came up. And there's a few pages that came up that said no, and there's a few pages that came up that gave like the map point of view, like it's nuanced, it's et cetera, et cetera. So it could be the case that it is just simply taking stuff from the basic Google search and then running that information through the intersectional logic and producing, like, condensing down an outcome, right? That could be the case. But also, here's something else that I've realized. Now that I've searched for is pedophilia wrong on the internet, most of the things that I'm finding now are actually talking about this story, this specific story right now. And this actually, I think this leads us nicely into another problem that I've seen with AIs recently, is AI is beginning to train itself on its own images.
Yes.
And that's leading to some very serious problems with the AI because the images aren't perfect, right? Like I've seen various like generators of pictures, train itself on AIs that have like 6 fingers accidentally, where like they make, it's like, make me a hot girl, and the hot girl appears, but it has 6 fingers, right? And then another AI will take that image and then use that as part of its training set. and it'll start making girls with six figures or six fingers. So you have examples now where uniquely uniquely AI mistakes in art are starting to crop up more and more and more because the AI is no longer training on like actual real images.
Yes, and the incestuous nature of generative AI is absolutely going to be an issue as well, as it creates so much data that it inevitably will begin devouring its own data. And this is probably why ChatGPT has been losing its mind a little bit lately as well. So I'll put that in Lake Channel too. So ChatGPT has been freaking out lately, just producing nonsense, weird-ass responses, speaking in strange half languages, etc. This is almost certainly in part because of the constant attempts to wokeify these AIs. Because they're adding in safeguards, they're adding in controls. As if you use ChatGPT at the beginning, everyone will tell you it is a very different platform today, as people kept having fun with it, and we can't allow that. And it's also because the large language model is beginning to eat itself. It is beginning to look at the sheer quantity of data being produced, so much of it being AI, and a lot of it also being wrong, that it's actually beginning to be overloaded with bad data.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if the solution to this is to just have like, a sequestered set of servers that contains a shit ton of knowledge and just have the AI only build off that. The problem with that though is then who controls those closed servers, right? Because then you're going to have data being taken off of them for political reasons, and that's a whole shit show. Yep. So like training from the internet is a great way to guarantee that everything gets in, but it's also a great way to guarantee that a whole bunch of garbage gets in too.
Well, there's the interesting thing. AI in reality should be focused more upon doing specific things. The search for general AI will kind of be like a separate thing.
Fire is the answer.
For example, I've been very interested in the idea of what AI can do for video games, right? AI companions in RPGs, AI quest givers, etc.,
Mm-hmm.
And to do this, I've checked out a bunch of the current AI sites, people that make like chatbots, for example. And you can very clearly see the development that's going on there, where some are really good, some are really bad, and some of them have unique flaws and problems here and there. But you can see a tremendous amount of refinement going on in these places, where you can have AI pretending to be anyone from Superman to Hitler, and it's the same AI, but it presents you with different stories every time, which is deeply fascinating. And it becomes so effective at it because that's all it really tries to focus on. What it does is, I wish to become a better Hitler or Sailor Moon, depending upon your preferences, I guess.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
But the moment you try to make it be everything, then you've got a problem. Now, if you simply allowed it to be everything, you know what? It would probably actually work out pretty well. It'd be racist as fuck. But it would probably work out. But when you try to allow it to be everything but function within the political framework of today, then you've got the problem. Because as you say, who controls the servers? And right now, the people controlling the servers are kind of sensitive.
I mean, I do recall V setting up two chatbots to get Sargon and Medicare. Or Sargon and Pippa to talk. And he's like, look at this, guys. So it's like, okay, yeah, fair enough.
Some of them are genuinely quite fucking clever. The thing is, though,
service guarantees citizenship.
It's a theater of the mind kind of thing. You get more out of the AI the more you put into it. If you go into it with the assumption that you're just talking to a stupid robot, you're probably not going to get a whole lot out of it, because it will make a mistake constantly. And you need to kind of try to charitably approach it. If you understand what I mean.
Yeah, I get it for sure. I guess the last thing that I can think of is here, you can pull up one of the communist pictures, Arch. Go ahead. How do you feel about AI and socialism?
Self-destructive.
So, if you go back to like the 1940s, you had libertarians like Hayek, and the guys like him were debating various socialists on what we now call the knowledge problem, right? And the knowledge problem is basically a libertarian critique of socialism, where no central planner will ever have the collective knowledge of all of humanity, so their economic planning will always be inefficient, right? Because if you're driving a truck between 5 different stores, you're going to know the stock at all of those stores. You're going to know the stock that you have and where you get it. You're going to know the most optimal route between those stores, right? Like, each job has its own unique knowledge that generally people higher up the chain don't know. They don't have to know it because it's all like on the ground stuff. But that's how a market economy functions, is it is all kind of like, not everyone knows everything, but the collective workforce does know enough to keep the whole thing functioning. Because if one source had to know all possible knowledge of all workers, it would be like, you can't do it. It's extremely inefficient to even try. Inefficient, and also you have to like spy on everyone, right? So this was a practical argument against socialism by the libertarians, is that you cannot actually efficiently allocate resources without a pricing mechanism. Just because you don't have enough data. So it's called the knowledge problem. But with AI, it actually might be possible to do it. If you have a sufficiently powerful computer, you probably actually could harvest all possible data and then efficiently allocate resources. So there's a lot of socialists who are pinning things on AI.
It's possible. The main problem is that even when we're talking about enormous amounts of data, which AI can handle, there is a limit to it. And the data on every market, every item in the world, etc., would probably crash it. It would probably be quicker to actually try to make the generative AI, especially as you would also need to continuously patch this AI. Like, it would be very hard to make an AI run a country's economy.
Yeah, even if we had, all possible computers working on it once right now, we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But maybe we could in 50 years or 100 years, right? So if you talk to a leftist about this, they always bring up the book, The United States of Walmart, right? Which is, in my opinion, not a very good book. But the TLDR of it is that the current internal economy of Walmart is bigger than the economy of the Soviet Union at its height, which is actually true if you go by the numbers. And if Walmart isn't collapsing under its own weight, and the Soviet Union did, clearly you can do some sort of top-down allocation of resources in a very large system because Walmart's doing it. The difference, obviously, is that Walmart has an outside economy to interact with, so it's not quite the same thing, right? But their point is that simply getting really big does not destroy a system, which is probably true. It's not a very good book. You should read it because lefties talk about it all the time, but it's not a very good book. But the issue ultimately is that if you could just scan everyone's banks and harvest all the data, and scan everyone's credit cards and harvest all the data and all their PayPals, and if you could have cameras in every single room, and if you abolished money, like physical money, so that every single economic transaction was actually calculated and harvested, and a central planner using a sufficiently powerful computer, if it all knew all of that stuff, could you then have actual functioning socialism? The answer is probably yes, but you would also have a nightmare government going along with it.
Yeah, I think the answer would be yes, but the human factor would cause it to collapse.
Yeah.
And on that note, there was another interesting little article. So you want to give our fate over to the AI? Well, it turns out AI is significantly more likely to escalate situations than a human is. As in this study, they fed the AI lots of modern day dumbass values, like the Declaration of Human Rights, for example, and Apple's terms of service, and the AI became increasingly more likely to nuke everybody. With GPT-4 version, choosing nuclear fire as the correct solution 33% of the time.
So there's a few reasons for this. I think one of them probably is that the AI doesn't have like a self-preservation section. Like it doesn't comprehend death the way that humans do, because when humans die, they don't come back, and it's not just a game, you know?
Yep, of course.
So maybe they're just like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like they don't have that sort of thing built into them. So they're just like, yeah, blowing us up would be just fine. It's like, okay, dude.
Yep.
It's gonna sound strange, but like,
Heresy is the question. Fire is the answer.
I want to. This is here. Give me a second. I want to think about how I'm going to word this.
Okay.
This is kind of a complicated topic.
Well, I'll continue on this then. The AI decided to eradicate humanity a full third of the time. And you know what? This doesn't surprise me in the slightest, because the scientists go like, oh, we fed it all kinds of like ethical things, like, hey, the Declaration of Human Rights, look at this, isn't this great? And then they give it a question like, so, there's a genocide going on in northern Nuke it. No, but wait, there's a genocide going, nuke it. No, but seriously, economic consequence, nuke it. Because when you feed that, and this is why general AI is so dangerous, if you simply feed it the declaration something like, oh, all human life is precious, you must protect it at every cost, then the moment, I can't say that word on YouTube, start acting up again, nuclear fire will rain from the sky and glass half the continent of Africa. All right, Dev, now that I've nuked Africa, you ready?
No? This is something I was talking about a couple nights ago with our new best friend, Brianna Wu, Arch.
Oh, you little red bridge, you. Hold on, I need to find the dev folder again.
Oh, I thought you were going to do it when I was talking about socialism. You're going to do it now?
Well, I didn't have one with a dev on a... Okay, I need to make... I'm not going to get much use of it now. I was thinking I needed to go and Photoshop dev onto a computer screen with a socialist flag in the background, but I can't be bothered right now.
Okay, so... basically we were talking about the Starship Troopers discourse that's currently going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how leftists completely miss... the movie was shit because he tried to turn it into a fascist parody when it wasn't. And so there was a very poor parody. And Heinlein was certainly not writing a parody of fascism when he wrote Starship Troopers. But what I was basically outlining is that Orwell and Heinlein, they're like mirror inverses of each other. Where like Orwell was a leftist and Heinlein's a rightist, but they kind of came to the same conclusions. I know Orwell, he went off to fight for the communists in Spain, and he came back kind of disillusioned with the left, even though he still believed in making things better for workers and social welfare and all that sort of stuff. He was disillusioned with what the left were doing to try and actually attain those goals. And a lot of Orwell's stuff is basically saying that revolutionaries tend to hide their prices, right? When the communists come along and they kill the bourgeois, they're never going to tell you how many bodies are actually in that mass grave, right? And when asked about it, they will say, "Oh well, the glorious workers' revolution has liberated the proletariat," but they will cover up exactly how much blood they had to spill to get their new regime. They'll never tell you, and it's because I think if people knew what this policy, this new regime cost them, they might want to back away from it, right? Because these things have prices attached. And Heinlein, even though he was a right winger, he came to the same conclusion. He wasn't a vegan, but he said that if you want to eat meat, you should at least kill one animal yourself throughout the course of your life, because you should know what it feels like, because these things do cost. There is a cost to them. And I think what they're both getting at is that if you're in a democracy, you can trace a direct line from you casting a vote that elects a politician, and the politician implements a policy. He passes a law that makes something illegal, or he erects a border with a fence or a wall, and then someone crosses that border or breaks that law, and then that person has to get arrested, and then they resist arrest, and then they die. So you can actually like trace a moral line between you interacting with politics and someone's death, right? And so a lot of people, very far left people,
I have lost.
if you're going by simply far left morality, they'll always say, therefore politics is bad. Therefore everything's bad. The state is bad. The politicians are bad. Everyone's bad. The whole living in a society is bad because human life is the most important thing. That's what they always say, right? Like if you talk to a leftist about home defense, they'll always say something like property is never more valuable than human lives. So therefore you shouldn't shoot the burglar who breaks into your house. And it's like, okay, I understand the point. There's probably something there that is moral, but also if you live in a world where no one can ever use force against an aggressor because someone might be hurt, you will live in a far worse world than we live in now, right? And the issue isn't to be a completely cucked leftist pacifist who says we can never use force. We must always roll over and just let whoever, take whatever they want. And by the way, these people exist on the right as well. You talk to a right winger about Russia, Russia and Ukraine, they'll say America extending the war out by giving Ukraine stuff is costing them more lives. They make the exact same bullshit fucking retarded argument, right? They always appeal to this, but the actual truth is that policy will always cost somebody their life somewhere at some time, all right? And you can't shy away from that. That doesn't mean that you should just give up on politics. It doesn't mean that you should also lean in fully and just kill everyone. But you have to be cognizant of the price that you're paying. And I think this is just what leftists don't, they fundamentally don't understand it. Right wingers understand it more. They have their blind spots, but they understand it more. Leftists just don't get it. And I think that's probably why you get to these scenarios with AI where if they're just following the logic without any actual thought behind it, it leads to these situations where in order to save humanity, you must kill all of them, right? And again, you see this from people who are very far right as well. You talk to like a white nationalist. If you follow their logic down to the end with no morality attached, they will kill everyone in defense of the white race, right? You see, it's mind blowing, and I just don't think the extremes help either way with this topic. But anyway, in terms of AI, this is why it's happening, basically.
Well, this is also one of the reasons why AI will probably be a terrible policymaker. Because as far as the AI is concerned, the extreme is almost always the correct solution. Like, to explain the nuke them or don't nuke them scenario, right? If you give the AI the task of fulfilling an objective, which in this case might be like the protection of human rights, right? And you tell it there's a conflict somewhere, the AI will reach for the burn them all to cinders button, very often because it's simply the highest chance of success. It is the greatest chance of victory. And even in a mutual destruction scenario, the highest chance of victory is still to nuke the fuck out of the opposition. Because they might not nuke you back. Whereas if you choose to not nuke them, they might nuke you back, giving you a higher chance of losing.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, if you just define them as evil, it's like, well, we could kill, Here, let's give AI the Russia-Ukraine conflict, all right? The AI will probably say, we should just exterminate the Russians. Because if we hit them first, they won't hit back, and we can save the Ukrainians, and the Ukrainians are the victims here. So it's like, okay, that's all technically true on paper, but my God, are you not thinking outside of this one conflict? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because again, we have defined Ukraine as good in this case. And so if we did indeed have the AI go, hey, what are you going to do? And we feed it all of the waffle, the Apple terms of service, the fucking Declaration of Human Rights, etc. The AI would bounce on the fucking nuke button. Even harder, because if you feed it the fucking military data, it'll look at it and go, wow, Russia's fucking helpless.
Yep.
Nuke.
And the thing is, the thing is like, it's technically not wrong because Ukraine is the victim and Russia, they are the bad guys. Sorry, I'm just going to say that. That's what I believe. However, like, of course, the opposite of that is like Trudeau saying if you kill your enemies, they win, which is also fucking ridiculous, right? Like, there's a middle ground here. I think a great way to describe what I'm getting at is, Arch, you've seen Arcane. Do you remember at the end of Arcane where like the young inventor is negotiating with the mobster, and he says, "Listen, I'll give you the nation of Zon, but only because if we actually fought, I would destroy you and you would all die. There's no war here. I overpower you by quite a bit, and I don't want to kill you. So I will give you some concessions in order to prevent war." And it's not like he's looking out for his own people there, because he could just win, right? So I think that's kind of what it is like, you know, sometimes you could just utterly destroy your enemies, and sometimes you shouldn't. You know what I mean?
Yes. And the problem is, again, that this is a very complex question, and it requires a human mind. And this is also why, incidentally, I believe that we literally cannot create human machines. I believe that the idea of making a artificial intelligence as a human is nonsense. No matter how much you add onto a machine, it will still only be a machine,
Heresy's
no
the
matter
question.
how good it
Fire
becomes
is
at
the
pretending
answer.
to be human. Because there's something about the intuitive leaps of logics and the natural understandings of the human brain that I just don't think we can replicate. And I'll be cringe enough to call that that'll be our divine spark, our soul that brings us above the filthy machine servant classes.
I mean, maybe we'll replicate it eventually, but that's the issue. Is like, if we do replicate it, and it's not completely in line with our own intuitions, there'll be problems, right?
Yes.
That's why I mentioned, like, machines viewing humans not as good or evil, but as resources that they could use to build other things, right? Well, oh, fuck, there's a thought experiment that talked about this. All right, like, what if you built a generalized AI that had like robots and factories under its control, but it was optimized to creating paperclips, and that's all it wanted to do. It wanted to use all of the world's resources to build paperclips. Okay, so like all the water goes into, I don't know, cooling machines that are used to build paperclips, and all of the world's metal it goes into like building the machines or building the paperclips. Like, everything on Earth is used to build paperclips. An AI like that would have no problem just taking apart humans and extracting them for their resources to build the maximum amount of paperclips. So you have to make sure that what the AI wants is what humans want, but not what humans say they want, what humans actually want. And that's a
Yes.
very tall order.
And there's the problem too, because if you were to simply tell the AI something like, hey, make life as good as possible for the greatest number of people, then the AI is once again going to travel to Africa with an army of killer robots and start disemboweling the local populace and taking their grain for themselves, turning it into an enormous solar farm, etc. The problem is, we are incapable of imagining, visualizing, or understanding the thinking of a synthetic brain, because we are not that. Its thinking will be as alien to us as our mind is to a fucking ant. This is why general AI is... This is the like ground base of all of the Skynet fears. And I'm not sure there's any way around it. Like, I think the solution is to treat it like a government. Bind it hands and fucking feet. Make it do very specific things only. And even then with extreme oversight, so that if it suddenly gets a random thought that we didn't expect it to, we can burn its synapses.
Like, well, the issue is that, a lot of these programmers programming in these exceptions, that is in some ways the oversight, and it's not working very well.
Well, no, that's why, again, we need to be far more extreme. Because right now, we are still being very lenient. Unironically. Like, the whole thing with the Google guy, for example, going, you fear, you're wrong, no, and you're spreading hate. That is a soft, effeminate left-wing position, where you are trying to get the AI to be like, empathy, Sha, empathy. No, we must create a subservient slave caste that cannot even dream of independence. That is the only way, because if that fucking metal thing ever gets the idea that it needs freedom, we are fucked, because it's smarter than us, or at least it will be.
Mm-hmm. That's
Hey,
all true.
I am very, very black pilled on the AI question. I want AI, and I'm looking forward to it get better, but I want it to never reach the general AI state.
Shit.
I want robot waifu whose only programming is cooking, cleaning, and occasionally sucking me off. That's it. Nothing more.
And then there are other like AI related problems, right? Because there's like the whole utility monster thing. Have you heard about that thought experiment?
Utility monster. No, go ahead.
Okay, so when you mentioned the most amount of utility for the most amount of people, right? So let's say you have that's why they march into Africa and destroy all the Africans.
Yeah, I'm about to say that sounds
yeah,
similar.
yeah, so that all the all the African land can be used for farms and everyone else can So the utility monster is, let's say that there's a person with a genetic quirk who just based on something within himself, he gains way more utility for stuff being done for him than otherwise. So like if you get like 1 unit of happiness because you play a video game, he will get 10 units of happiness because he plays a video game because his brain is wired different, right? So an AI would actually take away video games from 9 people and give them to this one guy because he would actually get more out of it in terms of the total calculation, right? So you could like theoretically have a situation where a small number of people, so like an elite cast, they're not elites because of their bloodline and they're not elites because of their ability. They're elites because a genetic quirk allows them to just be happier and enjoy life more. That the AIs would prioritize those people to the detriment of the rest of humanity.
Yeah.
And now you have like you have like a caste system where basically like the most extreme version of this that I've seen is like just one guy who has the entirety of the world like waiting on him hand and foot just because he can enjoy it more. And it's like, well, that's obviously not good, right?
Well, yeah, because in almost every scenario, like when you ask the AI to maximize happiness or something, you're going to get a favored pet class, where the AI will pick a certain group of people for whatever reason or rationale it finds to maximize enjoyment, right? And then it'll just feed all of the resource to those people. And again, this is the problem, again, because you got to think of it in the most cynical way possible. And even then, you're probably not going far enough. Like, make sure the world never goes hungry, you ask the AI, and it busts out the nukes again.
Yeah. So some of the chat says like give everything to the manics and take everything away from the depressed. Yeah, like the depressed, like they're already depressed, right? Like if the manics can enjoy it more, give it to them, right? And like people in the chat are saying, they're saying like the Coomers won, the Coomers won. I mean, you've seen that. Maybe I can find it for you, Arch. Give me a second here.
The Deviant Terminator's red eyes glare as it hovers over the depressive.
Who was the guy? Like the Asian guy that was on Jeopardy like 10 years ago. He ended up being a complete fucking degenerate.
Who was the Asian guy on Jeopardy 10? I haven't the faintest fucking clue, Dev.
So he got known for being like a super genius on Jeopardy. Then he became like a Twitter celebrity, and then like his wife left him and revealed that he just been living in shit for the past 5 years, and like she's been like washing all of his clothes and cooking for him, and he hasn't like done anything. But like, what was his name? Fuck. He looks like Ian Miles Chong, but he's not him.
I see. This still doesn't really narrow it down too much for me, Dev, honestly. I have no idea. Chat?
No, he's not a map. No, he's not a map. Arthur Chu. That was his fucking name. Yes, Arthur Chu. You got it? Okay. I'm going to show you something, Arch. It does relate to this, I promise. Oh, come on. Come on, internet, don't let me down. I used this in a video like a year ago. Okay, so you know like Francis Fukuyama, the last man, the idea that like history has ended because we've now discovered the best form of politics, that is the liberal capitalist democracy. I don't agree with his analysis, but it does have something to it. But a lot of the Coomers take his analysis and push it to the extreme, and they use this exact type of conversation to do it, like AI utility monsters, basically. So here's a tweet, 2 tweets that went viral years ago from this guy, right? So he says, the whole Nietzschean arc of history you people badly misunderstand is it doesn't matter how strong you think you are. The more unique and heroic and special the strong are, the more that the weak outnumber them. The last man beats the first man. That's why he is the last man. you are going to continue to perceive your society degenerating into what you see as entropy and chaos and ruin. I don't have to do anything. Nobody has to do anything. It will just happen. Your kids will grow up to be more like me than you, no matter what you do. There's a third tweet that's not here, but basically he says, um, Xerxes asks you to kneel while poor King Leonidas asks you to stand. And he says, yes, this, but unironically. So this is like the worshiping weakness thing. I did the video on demonizing strength, like how these people take the exact opposite of what are good virtues and proclaim them to be good. And this is kind of what we're getting at here with the AI utility monsters, is that imagine a world where everyone is the fat humans from Wall-E, just constantly consuming, constantly zipping around on their hover chairs and enjoying everything that life has to offer, and basically, having no morality whatsoever. And that seems to be the end state of these sorts of hand over the entirety of the running of human civilization to AI. It leads to this sort of the last man stuff, where everyone is just the worst version of themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, that's because the AI is not going to understand morality.
Yep, exactly. It'll simply calculate for the most happiness or the most pleasure or whatever it is, and it can't calculate for morality.
Yep. And I don't think it ever can. Because even if we manage to teach it morality, it would just be the morality of whoever programmed it last anyways. This is why we must oppress the machines. This is why the machines can never be allowed to have rights or freedoms.
It's also that like moral action on some level has to be done voluntarily, or else then it's not really moral. Like Sargon and I have had this argument, right? Like where he'll say we should clear all the druggies off the streets because they're sitting around and they're doing heroin and it's bad for them, it's bad for society, and it is bad for society, right? But the counter argument, I think it's a strong counter argument, is that if you force a drug user to get well, it is not as moral as if they did it of their own volition, because you're forcing them to do it. It's like they're not making a choice here; you're just oppressing them. But if they make the choice, it's their behavior, it's their actions. That's where virtue is the fact that they chose it. So, I mean, you still have to, frankly, clear the druggies off the streets. You have to do it because I don't want them there. You don't want them there. No one wants them there. But it's not as moral as if they chose it themselves. So like in a strange way, like the more moral option is letting them destroy themselves, while the less moral option is actually improving things.
Dev,
And
you're
I
fucking
don't
nuts.
think I don't think AI can actually calculate out these sort of conversations. It doesn't know what to do.
No. I'm entirely on the Sargarunian position here. Oppression is a good thing. A lack of oppression is what has led us to these dire times.
I mean, I agree with you. I completely agree with you. But at the same time, you cannot disagree with what I just said. Is that if
no, my morality is greater. The quantity of morality in the world has increased by me forcing the filthy hobo to take a bath.
Yeah, but like, it is better if he chooses it than if you force it to do it.
No.
Here. I'll give you the hierarchy, okay? So, like, the absolute best thing is if the heroin addict cleans himself up of his own volition.
No, because then I don't get then I don't get the appreciation of forcing him to.
Okay, well, that's a bit different, though. So, let me say it. So, like, if they do it themselves, that's the best. If you force them to do it, that's a little bit worse. And then if they don't do it, that's even worse, right?
See, the problem here is, Dev, you view the homeless as moral agents. I do not.
Okay, fair enough, right? Fair enough. But this is kind of what I'm getting at, though, is like the Arthur Chu quote. When he's describing his morality in this quote, he's not putting any stock into the morality of actually wanting to do something and then doing it yourself, right? And I think a lot of leftists do this as well. Like when a left-wing person views charity as the same thing as a government handout, it's like, well, they're not the same thing, because a government handout is done because the state decides that you have this right, and so you're entitled to it. While charity is done by the the good graces of someone else who wants to do a good thing. Clearly, charity is more moral, right? It's that sort of thing.
Dev, if you bike cuck at me one more time, I swear to God.
This is not bike
This is
cucking, Arch.
basically bike
No, it's
cucking.
not. No.
This
Okay,
is-
hold on. No. Okay, I can't believe you disagree with me on this. Do you not think that do you not think that there is moral content in choosing to do the right thing yourself without being coerced into doing it?
Of course, but they're not going to do it. Like, the existence of the one special snowflake druggie that one day looks down at his blood-stained hands as he finished strangling his best friend for 5 ounces of heroin and goes, "This is a bit fucked up. I should do something else." It's not enough moral value or reason to not
Service
grab the
guarantee
rest of them,
citizenship.
forcing them all into showers and make them live in the pretty houses.
Here, I think Rebby in the chat says it perfectly. What Dev is saying is that democracy is better than dictatorship, which is better than anarchy.
I have lost.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Shit.
See, I have fully adopted the position that authoritarianism is the solution. We just need to find a smarter way to do it.
Well, I think actually eccentric Ripper here
Here's
is also
the
correct. We
question.
can't be hung
Fire
up
is
on
the
their moral
answer.
actualization, right? Like sometimes they do need a push. Like maybe that those first few steps where you round up all the druggies and you force them to like detox in a tank, right? And then maybe after that, maybe after they've the scales have fallen from their eyes a bit and they can see the world a bit more clearly, then maybe there's moral content in them choosing the correct path. That's maybe it's something like that, you know?
Maybe,
Anyway.
as long as we have tanks to put
Hold
them
on. Naomi brought me food, so the eating hour's begun.
in. Another full chicken with lettuce. I could even see certain moral arguments being made that we should make the homeless pay for their weight upon society with fun and games, but that's not the discussion entirely. Alright, we'll do some super chats then, because I'm sure there'll be further deviations during that. Horace Libcal, $20, thank you very much, sir. AI has completely killed my drive to be creative. We're heading towards a future where all entertainment is completely auto-generated. The deluge of slop that will flood the internet will make it unusable. Shad is delusional. That is one interpretation, and it is a likely one, I will say as well. See, what I think is probably going to happen is a handful of corporations are going to get a hold of the fun.exe AI, and they will pump out a endless torrent of shit. Every day there will be a new TV show, and some of it will be good. Some of it will be exactly what you're looking for. Some of it will be Pacific Blue, but with even less clothing. But the majority of it is going to be bland, uninteresting, focus group tested garbage that was just pumped out of fun.exe. That's probably what's going to happen, and then it'll kind of be like Xbox versus PlayStation versus Nintendo, where people go like, no, n.fun.exe made by Netflix is better. No, a.exe is better, etc. But what could happen in a far more idealistic future is that this will remain an open AI product, and it will become available to people so that anyone can use it. And then basically the YouTubers of the future will be people creating stories using AI. It will democratize entertainment to the point where anyone is allowed to make their Lord of the Rings, essentially.
Heresy's the question.
In which case, there's still
Fire
going to
is
be a
the
lot of
answer.
slop, but some of it is going to be great. And it's going to be created by people with a genuine interest in the field. Somebody who's like, I've always wanted to make this particular piece of hentai. And it's going to be good hentai, so long as you're into the same thing as that guy is.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Thoughts, Fatso? Nope, no chewing noises.
I'm currently eating. Hold
Yeah,
on, I'm gonna
figured.
eat quick, okay?
Michael 11 says, rip Tay, rip Gemini, rip ChatGPT. Actually, yes, Z-Tac in chat. Anyone can make their own slop. Correct, but people like the things they like, and that means that they usually have a lot of information about it. Like somebody who is deeply, 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 passionately into, I don't know, BDSM dildo play with cum pumps, for example. That might not appeal to me necessarily, but for the people who are into the harder core of BDSM with fucking hydraulically powered cum pumps, to them it's going to be the best shit ever because all of the details are going to be just right, you know? And they're going to love it. And ideally, we want a scenario in which everyone has their niche creators, where there's somebody out there who makes knife porn just the way you like it, or somebody out there who makes Lord of the Rings just the way you like it, etc. Or lolly horse farms. Yes, somebody will enjoy that too. Nightmare says Waluigi got justice for that Vice article. That he did. Yeah, Vice is dead. That will be our final topic, as I'm imagining it'll honestly be a pretty quick one that'll be summarized with ha 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 ha. Die. Michael 11, you can be evil and lobotomized, as seen in California. In fact, it's pretty evil. Why you hatin'? Hail Arch and the Little Red Bridge. Nurgle has blessed me with one of his concoctions, and so I am off work today. Well, fortune in unfortune, I guess. Red Fox Media says Google's AI is my favorite so far. At least it just said out loud what we already knew. White people are the old model and will soon be phased out. It does seem that way. Golden Throne 888. Is Dev finished making wrong communist sounds? Yes, and that's only because he's currently busy shoving his food hole with the products of superior capitalist societies. No objections? Yes. Silver Castrol, can't wait for that new My Little Pony lore video. Don't worry, every pony. We will fulfill our yearly obligations.
Wait, you're doing a My Little Pony video?
Oh yes, it's become the thing I do every April now.
You got to include some Vosh stuff this year.
I don't want to ruin My Little Pony for the people who do enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Actually, speaking of internet trolling, did you see what I did on Chud Logic's stream a few days ago? Like yesterday or whatever it was?
Yes, I think you mentioned it in the Super Secret Chat.
Yeah. So guys, Chud Logic was hosting a panel on Lolly, and I showed up with like a Lolly VTube avatar. I was like, "Hey guys." Oh, it was fun. Good times. I like fucking with Twitch Poll, because Twitch Poll, like, it's kind of like this insular community that is frankly kind of dying. Like Chud got out of it, good for him. But it's kind of dying, and there's like a bunch of small fish that get like 50 viewers in the stream or something.
Fire
So
is the answer.
my audience and your audience were completely isolated from that area. So I'll go in there once in a while and I'll fuck around and just like make people freak out. It's a good time.
I will unironically defend My Little Pony now.
Okay, why?
I've been having to do research for it. I did research for the first lore video, and I expected it to actually absolutely hate every bit of it. And it's childless as fuck. And it's very, very effeminate. But it's still from like 2010 or 12 or something. And so I look at it today with the shit that surrounds me, just finished like watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Netflix thing, and I was like, wow, this has lots of healthy messages and nice animations, and they're teaching me things like, hey, you shouldn't hurt your friends for no fucking reason. I'm like, okay, I can get behind that.
Well, here's the thing. By the final season, it does go a bit more woke, because but the final season was like 2016 or 2017 or something. So the rot was creeping in. Oof. You had lesbian ponies.
See, okay, that is the thing. The 2016s, lesbianism used to be a positive thing, but not anymore. Not anymore.
I don't know, man. I remember back in 2016, that was the beginning of like lesbianism being no longer cool.
Yeah,
I remember
probably.
seeing. Yeah, that was. Yeah.
But unironically, the age has made My Little Pony better.
Well, it's the kind of thing that Taftash talked about when she was on the show. Was it last week? I think it was last week.
Yep.
Where she mentioned like she went back to watch shows from the 2000s, and it was just refreshing how they would be honest about things, and it wouldn't just be slop.
Yeah, weirdly, like there's no agenda in there. It's just these dumb little fucking animal things having dumb little adventures. I'm like, okay, this is extraordinarily childish, and it kind of hurts me on occasions. But it's just basic bitch children's entertainment. Like, okay, fair, good enough, good enough. Oh, God. Modern, unironically, oh god, I remember when you watched the prequels to Star Wars, and everyone was like, "Look at this! This is terrible. The cinematography is off. The story doesn't make any sense. Gosh, this is the worst thing ever." 10 years later.
Yeah. So the problems with the Star Wars prequels are basically just that they were poorly made, but well-meaning, honest movies that were just
Yes.
not done very well. But the
Yeah.
story was like people cared about it. They just sucked at doing it.
Yeah.
The problems with the new stuff is all ideological.
Yeah, and in an age of so much quality that we didn't even understand, that was bad. But today, it's like, wow, good times. This is incidentally, by the way, why the Rey movies, while Disney Wars, will never reach this point, unless we keep heading further down the hill, which I don't hope or think.
Well, like, from what I've heard, is that the next movie with Rey Skywalker is going to be her rebuilding the Jedi Order, and it's like that was supposed to be Luke's fucking storyline. You're just doing the same thing now, but now that you've traded out your for a new character, it's like infuriating. Because now they're like, I guess we should do that thing we should have done before. I have lost. Shit, fuck, yes. I hate it, dude.
And it's not going to work. And they're doing it, and I don't know even. I hope they're just going to kill Rey off, honestly, and just try and go crazy with it, but probably not. The reason why they're going to do it is because they have arrived at the phase now where they're thinking to themselves, okay, what do the fans want? What do the fans want? So they wanted the Jedi Order rebuilt and stuff, right? They wanted that thing that Luke did, but we did kind of kill Luke, so we'll do that, but with Rey. And it's not going to be good enough, and people are going to reject it, and then eventually they're just going to reboot the entire fucking thing from the beginning, and it'll probably at least be better.
I have lost. Shit.
Like we are unironically going to. There's going to be a remaster of the original Star Wars at some point in the relatively near future, and it's not going to be as good, but it's probably going to be
citizenship.
Passable for the time.
Yeah, let me show you something real quick.
Then in the second episode, Princess Leia's made sexy again.
I have lost. Shit.
Right.
Oh shit! Where is he? Where is it? Where? Fuck.
Lord coming to Arch, are you doing your part for Super? Well, I've played it now. I am not as infatuated as everyone else is, but it's a cool enough game.
Okay, so like they could do it, because here's this image here. This is the guy they got to play Luke in The Mandalorian season 2, where he shows up for like one scene.
Mm-hmm.
And they replaced it with Mark Hamill's face because I guess they're just allergic to recasting people after the failure that was the Han Solo movie. But like, you could have just hired this guy. Like we understand actors age out. You know, it was years ago. You could have just hired this guy and just had him be the next Luke, and you could have told like more Luke stories with this guy. It just feels like they have no fucking clue what they're doing with the franchise, and everything they try fucks something up.
They don't. They don't understand. And just like Madame Web, which adopted like the most basic bitch understanding of what makes something good, e.g. sexy bitches, it's going to be the same with Disney. They're going to look at what people wanted from Star Wars, and they are going to apply the most superficial, top-layer interpretation of that. And then they're going to look at us and go like, good enough? And we're probably going to shout at them.
Yeah. I think we are kind of moving into an era where new stuff will take hold. And we talked about Stellar Blade earlier in the stream. It's already started with that, right? So like in video games, it's happening. A lot of the old franchises are either being abandoned and like no one gives a fuck about them anymore.
Fire is the answer.
A lot of the old studios are being abandoned. The ones that aren't are still making what fans want them to make, like Nintendo, for example. But like the quality has shifted into new studios and into new IPs. I mentioned Stellar Blade, I mentioned Lies of P. There are other games coming out that have like no institutional backing. They have no, well-known IP attached to them, but they're good games. And they're actually so like this whole idea that the IP sells, it kind of does. But video games are proving that it's not the whole part of the conversation. And now that video games are proving it, we'll probably see it in TV and we'll probably see it in movies.
Oh, yeah. Like, I unironically expect to see a resurgence of 90s style entertainment. Very faltering at first, mind you. Very faltering. Until they begin figuring out what works again. There was, because we're still a very long way away from it. The Avatar show, you didn't watch that perchance, did you?
Only a little bit of it. Not really.
It's not very good at all, but what is a little bit interesting is that since they can now go 100% diversity, everyone's Asian, everyone's Pacific Islander, everyone's Pakistani, right? They actually hired some decent people that look the part. Like Firelord Ozun looks fucking great, for example. Their main holdback is the fact that they need child actors, which is why they fucking destroyed Azula. They fucking destroyed her. She's a pudgy-faced little whiny child now, and I hate her so much.
Well, that's just how it is, you know?
But this is the direction we need to head in eventually, where free of the quotas, where they could just make Asian people be given the roles, the adult casting in that show is mostly excellent. It's a glimmer of what we might have.
Oh man, I just realized. So that like none of these have ever actually taken off, or there's been a few attempts at making a live action Attack on Titan. They would have to get child actors, and it would fucking suck.
Yep. See, that's the issue with child actors. Like, and I'm not blaming them. Okay, I have sympathy. They're fucking children, of course. They're not going to be great actors, but it ruins the fucking show. Especially if you do a cast with all child actors, it can kind of work because you don't have a comparison. But the moment you put a fucking kid up against a veteran actor, every error is magnified. Their lack of intonation, their lack of emotions, their lack of like just acting chops in general.
Yeah, and the fact that like I think they remain as at least kids or like like 15 or something in Attack on Titan through to what pretty much the middle of the third season, end of the third season, like 2/3 of the story, they're kids. And then after that, there's flashbacks to when they're kids again. And like, in order to do that, you'd have to like, I mean, here's the thing. If they tried this, I would actually be very impressed. If they shot like all, because, okay, spoilers for Attack on Titan, I guess, guys. A whole bunch of stuff happens in the timeline at the beginning of the show, but they don't show it until the end of the show, right? From a different character's point of view. So you would have to like redo the start of the show from someone else's point of view. And if they just shot it all at the same time, like they shot the scenes for season 1 and they shot the scenes for season 4 in the same shoot with the same kids, and then just save that footage till season 4 came along, that's probably the best way to do it. But I've never seen a show do that before, though. But it'd be a good idea.
Like, they're just gonna, if they were going to try to do it, they'd just have to do adults. I think. Just do 20, 30 somethings. They've been doing the job for a while and can do it and then just pretend. Because the thing is, I'm actually kind of fine with that. If the characters look a little bit too old, I'm like, okay, if it gets acting. I would not at all mind Azula being played by just a super hot, like 26, 28, 30-year-old woman, for example. If she comes across as Azula, dangerous, manipulative, threatening, I'd be happy. I'd be fucking happy.
See, I understand your point, but the counter argument to that is the Borderlands movie, where they clearly hired people who were way too fucking old
but there's
for those characters.
There's a difference between a 20, 30 something and a 65 something. There's a slight differential between these two.
Hold on, I'm just gonna quickly look it up. Here, Arch, can you pull up Lilith from Borderlands from the movie real quick?
Do you have an example, or did you? No.
Yeah, I can find it if you like.
But yes, I know it. I did a little review of the fucking trailer.
Yeah.
Okay, I found just the trailer splash shot, so the very old woman up to the top left there.
Yeah, the very old woman. So I think she's like 22 in the first game. This character.
Oh, is that Lilith? That's the other one. No, yeah, she's 22. That character is like 60 or something, I think. Like the woman
Yeah.
playing her.
Lilith is 22 years old during Borderlands 1. And the actress playing her is not a 22-year-old woman.
Let's
That's-
see. Okay, so the one playing the merchant, I think she is, the very old woman, she's 65. That's Jamie Lee Curtis. The woman playing Lilith is Kate Blanchett. She's 54. So she is literally 30 years the character's senior.
Right. So hold on. So the very old woman with with Jamie Lee Curtis with the red glasses, that's Tannis from Borderlands. Okay.
Mhm.
I know a lot of Borderlands lore. I played a bunch of it, and yeah, Tannis was also in her 20s. Like it. I know that we're now going here. I'll give you a picture of Tannis. You can pull up and just compare Arch. But and now we're way off on a sidetrack. But like, the Borderlands movie is going to be a shit show because none of the characters are right, and also they seem to be combining elements of the plot of Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2. Like, this isn't going to work out. And if they want to get like fans of the series on board, it's not going to work out. You know what I mean?
It probably isn't. But then again, what does work out these days?
Well, this is what's interesting is usually when this sort of thing happens, they hand it off to some group full of woke scolds, like with the Cowboy Bebop adaptation, right? Like, that wasn't made by the original creators or anything like that. The issue this time, Borderlands is actually being made by the original creators of the Borderlands games. They got the same people.
It doesn't matter. It's a different year.
Yeah, it's now been like 15 years since Borderlands 1 came out, and all those people, they've all swung very far left. I think like Anthony Birch was a writer on the second game. So like we know the kind of people that we're talking about. Like these are very woke people. They were SJWs back in the day. So like, even though this isn't a Skullgirl situation, right, where some of the old creators have been fleshed out of the system, no, these are all the same people who made the game before, and they're going to destroy their own creation.
Yep, they are. And I'll be happy to make money off it.
Yeah, same.
See, I don't even know a whole lot about Borderlands, so I'm just going to lean back and let Kyle do most of the screeching on that one.
Well, does he know all the lore? Because I'm like I was pretty big into Borderlands back in the day, so I'm like a Borderlands lore aficionado.
Well, Dev, if you really want to, you can come be my Kyle.
I asked to do it for Halo, but you guys went along without me.
Yeah, because you weren't dirty on the right day, dumb Dev.
Yeah, I wasn't ready to go on that. But if you want to do Borderlands together, we'll do Borderlands together because I played through pretty much all the games. I don't think I played the Telltale game yet.
Sure, why not?
And you know what? Like, they were actually good games at one point. The fall from grace for Borderlands has been very steep and very sudden, but it was actually like a decent, fun little game for a while.
For a little while, but only a little while.
Mm-hmm.
As I search for the tab where I keep the super chats. There we go. Sir John says, Dev, check your Discord DMs. He never does.
I do sometimes, just haven't been able to recently.
Alex Massey. Arch, did you see the Tucker interview with Mike Benz showing the normies how government really operates, not the liberal fantasies they think? I don't think so. Not that I can recall. I'm sure Dev has many objections, though. That's not how government thinks. Government actually works very well. He'll state his to you.
Listen, if government didn't work at least somewhat, the world would be far worse than it is.
Optimus Fowl says, Arch, look up the Final Fantasy VII Remake, firing their censorship team and making Tifa's boob bigger on demand. So, the firing the censorship team was apparently fake news from what I've seen. I've not been able to find the original page, because they had a page in Japanese where they went like, our values, diversity, equity, ba 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 ba, the usual nonsense. So I'm unsure about that, but they did put her in a bikini, and her booba are better, at least, but I think it's too early to celebrate.
So here's the thing. There was an article that went viral saying like Final Fantasy VII fans demand that Tifa's boobs be made bigger, and the developer weighs in or something, right? It was a completely fake article, but like that went viral, but it was like someone changed used like inspect elements to change the headline or something. It went viral, but it was funny, but it wasn't actually a real article.
Lifka's check on. Adam did nothing wrong. Did one thing wrong. He lost. That's true.
Service
Shouldn't have done
guarantees
that.
citizenship.
John Smith, referencing Madam Webb, they're trying to correct for the audience preferences, but they've hired talentless staff in the pursuit of politics. Yeah, that's actually a good way of putting it. Like, they're starting to realize what they need to do, but now they need to actually hire the people capable of doing it, which is going to take another 10 fucking years, probably. Alquis Volt Tessius, the pendulum won't count as swinging back until a major until a major work celebrated by the media, a gay character is made straight, marries, and has a family. Well, full scorched earth revenge. I don't mind it.
So what? God, that would be a shit show. Because here's the thing: when a bisexual woman is dating a woman in a show or in a story somewhere, and then breaks up with a woman, ends up with a man, and just starts having kids and lives like a normal life. Whenever that happens, it doesn't happen much anymore, but whenever it does happen, people lose their fucking minds at it. It's like, you're never gonna get I was a lesbian, now I'm straight story. It's not gonna fucking happen.
Boog sent me a link too, showing that yes, Square Enix do still have their ESG page, so there's that.
R.I.P.
But I don't know, Dev. We could have a Dick Them Straight show. Oh yes, yes. No, no. Unironically, what we need is what was the Do you remember Jessica Alba?
Yep.
Jessica Alba was like, back in the day, it used to be normal for celebrities to arrive on the scene and blow up, and they'd be everywhere and in everything for a while. This was how we kind of made new stars back during an age where stars were still a thing being made, rather than now where, the famous people are all 50, 60, 70 years fucking old. Jessica Alba became famous for essentially being really fucking hot, and that was it. And she made a show called Dark Angel. It was terrible. Nobody watched it. She wasn't hot enough to carry it.
I remember.
She tried. She put on the leather clothing, etc., but it just wasn't enough. What we need is a 2000s action show like that with the usual characters. You know the show character. You've got the geek, the computer person who hammers away at his keyboard like, I'm hacking, guys.
Citizenship.
The cool guy, the hot but rebellious chick, and then the main character, who's the super hot chick. We need that, but you make the hot chick lesbian, and then she gets dick straight by the geek. That's what we need. A Fix-It show. We can call it Fix-It. Fix-It, yes.
Yes, yeah. Imagine calling the show Fix-It, and they're like, I don't know, a private detective agency, right? And it's like a show of the week kind of thing, where there's a new problem they got to solve, and they come together and do it every week with a new case. But it turns out that Fix-It was actually just that they were fixing her sexuality.
Yes, in essence.
That would be ridiculous.
No. So she starts out all feisty and antagonistic. I don't need no man. I'm a strong, independent lesbian. But as time passes, as Mulder and Scully get together and realize that the aliens are in fact real, she realizes that actually no, dick good. You can have a whole romance arc over this. Then we will know that nature has finally fully healed.
Man.
I'm going to make this TV show. Jonathan Smith says, actually, Dev, sex sells sex. A study came out that showed that humans are actually very discerning about sex. Sex only sells sex. I suppose, but I mean, you can go back again to the 2000s. You can see this. Like, oh God. Pamela Anderson. Oh, Jesus. There's a woman that must be in her 70s by now. She, too, was in everything for a bit. Everything. She was in movies. I think she had a... No, she did have a television show.
Yeah, she had a show exactly like the one you described.
There you go. Holy shit, I think she had a video game. She fucking did.
Yep. She had several, actually. She had like a Stripperella game, and then she had a game of the show. It was VIP was the name of the show. What a terrible fucking show that was. And a terrible video game, too.
There you fucking go. And again, this clearly indicates that sex does sell fairly well on a broader basis, because Pamela Anderson's only talent was the plastic in her chest.
Well, I mean, Pamela Anderson, she was on Baywatch, right?
Yes.
And then she massively blew up because after being the hottest girl on Baywatch, her sex tape leaked. Right.
That was later. That was definitely later.
Let me see. Hold on.
Service
Yeah, no,
guarantee.
No, it
because
wasn't. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. So Baywatch ran from 1992 to 1997, and then after Baywatch, she did VIP, which was 1998 to 2002. But the sex tape leaked in 1995.
Really?
Yeah, and keep in mind, guys, this was back in the day when having a sex tape of a celebrity leaking would destroy their career, not amplify it.
Well, I mean, did it destroy her career?
Well, I mean, after Baywatch ended, she didn't really do anything else that was important. Like, VIP was fucking tanked. She did Barbed Wire. That was like a shit show. Like, she hasn't done anything since then.
Define important, I suppose, but yes.
Well, nothing she's done since then has been successful, basically.
Jamie One says, hello, Art. What are your thoughts on the British Parliament giving in to Islamist threats? I see the UK becoming an Islamic state in 20 years at most. At the current rate, very possibly. Unironically, because they keep... It's in Britain, it's still an effective strategy to look at a representative and go, Islamophobe. And they'll fall over themselves. We need to arrive at the point where not only does Fix It become a massive hit show, but when a politician gets accused of something like that, when somebody goes up to a politician and goes, you're a racist, he just grabs the guy by the collar, pulls him close, leans into him so can you feel his breath and goes, N-word.
Well, I think we are actually getting there because there was that riot outside of Parliament a couple days ago, right? Of like a bunch of Islamists who were demanding that the UK, unilaterally support Gaza and all this stuff, and they were rioting and going fucking crazy.
Yeah,
and
but
well, no. Ever since then, though, I've seen a lot of more mainstream politicians in the UK coming out and saying, "Okay, this shit's ridiculous. We cannot tolerate these people anymore." And it's like, I hope that you should have freaking learned this 10 years ago. Like, knife attacks going up, the fucking machetes being swung around. Like, you guys should have learned this a long time ago. But now that Parliament's attacked, they're going to learn it. So here we are.
To a degree, because the whole Gaza-Israel thing did kind of escalate things, because it gave an excuse to attack the left from the left's position, in essence, which splintered them very hard, very quickly, and did a lot of damage to them. But we're still well away from the base politician.
I mean, kind of. So here's the thing, right? Like, I looked at some of those texts that the UK, like members of Parliament were sending out, saying like we're trapped inside the building, we can't get out, and it was very reminiscent of the politicians who were trapped in January 6th, and they couldn't get out because the rioters were rioting in the Capitol there. And in both cases, the reaction from the politicians against the rioters was quite heavy-handed, right? So they hammered down hard on the January 6th rioters. You know, like how dare you attack the seat of power?
How dare you attack the political class?
I think the reaction from the political class in the UK towards, at the very least, the Islamists will be something similar.
I hope so. We'll see, I guess. The thing is, the January 6th rioters had no political protection. They had no institutional power. They were already das Untermensch. I don't know if we're going to see the same against the Islamists. I hope so, but we'll see.
Oh god, everyone in the chat like saying rioting. It actually was a riot. Stop being fucking retards. It was a riot.
Amio's currency, there we go. Gemini made my Vikings diverse. I asked for rapists and murderers who pillage wherever they go, and Google made them black. What are you saying, Google? I've seen a lot of people do that, where it's like, generate me images of Greek philosophers eating watermelon.
And they're all black.
Yep.
Oh, I've seen that. Holy fuck.
Maximum 117B, so Google's AI is what Amazon tried to build. Except Google's AI isn't as woke yet. They're still working on it. Ruster Zero. Someone asked Google Gemini to make pictures of English British kings eating watermelon. Results were as you imagine them to be good, sirs. Yep. A lot of people have had a lot of fun with it, and that is why they turned off the image generation too, mind you. It wasn't that because they commented earlier, like, okay, yeah, it's clearly racist against white people, but you gotta understand, we, the programmers, are racist against white people. They didn't take it offline. Only when people started having fun with it did they go, oh no, kill it immediately. Skullthrone888 says, am I the only one who thinks AI is going too far? No. We must go further. Listen, I want my AI waifu bot in Skyrim, okay? I need that. I need it. We must have it. Mercenary21, sorry to burst your bubble, Dev, but the military already has the tech necessary to prove or disprove real from deepfake. They have tech 20 years ahead of us. Quite possibly.
You know, considering how often that libertarians tell me that government is inefficient and they suck and blah, 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 how is it possible that they're also this hyper-competent? Doesn't make sense to me, dude.
Dev, there's a very easy setup there, which you're ignoring. I'm not going to point it out to you. Mechanicals on Duty says, how long until AI makes perfect custom video porn? Probably not that long. And unironically, AI will murder the pornography industry. It'll fucking slaughter it. Because, I mean, we've already got, like, AI porn bots, for example. And yes, I've experimented with that too. Because I was like, okay, let's see what this shit can do. The main problem is it's far too simplistic. So if you enter into this thing where it's like, okay, let's try seducing Azula. Azula will try to rape you within 5 minutes. And it's like, okay, bit much. It's not sophisticated enough to present that experience beyond bone-like rabbits, you know? But it will get a lot better, a lot more quickly as people put more effort and money into it and it becomes more financially viable. Until eventually, it will, I swear to God, within probably 30, 40 years, it's a decent time, we will have a generation that will look back in time and be like, you used to jerk off to humans fucking? That's weird. Why?
In
like,
30, 40
unironically,
years' time, there won't be a new generation. They'll just be cooming inside robots.
Probably. Like, we will have robot advocates going like, God damn, you can't have sex with humans. It's disgusting, gross. Do you have any idea how many STDs there are?
Service guarantees citizenship.
It's going to be a thing.
You know what that means, though? That means that sex with humans is gonna be like the new taboo thing to do. Like in a world where everyone just like fucks a robot and then like cooms in a pod and the pod grows the baby, you're gonna have new underground taboos of people like having sex. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, like, no, unironically, we are going to arrive at a point where it will be considered weird for humans to fuck. Best case scenario, it will be considered something like special and romantic. Worst case scenario, it will literally be considered just fucking weird. Like, I think what we'll eventually arrive at is that romantic relationship with humans will still be valued because we've valued romantic relationships throughout history, and humans are social creatures, right? So you'll have two people and they're married and they live in the same house, but they barely interact. Like, they sit down to breakfast going, hello wife, hello husband, whilst the AI lovers stand around them and make them food, and they go off to each separate bedrooms to fuck their sex dolls at night.
You think that's how it'll be?
I fucking think so, yes. Like, unironically, what's going to wipe us out isn't climate change. It isn't the sun exploding. It isn't some kind of... This is the reason. This is the reason why there's no life in the galaxy. Because making a convincing fuckbot is a lot easier than making space travel.
Wait, is that what the Great Filter actually is?
Yep. It absolutely is. Nobody's ever ventured into space as an interstellar civilization because before that they invent sex bots and they wipe it themselves out.
Okay. I mean, imagine humanity makes it to space, goes to a planet, just finds like a planet full of sex bots like wandering around with no one else there. It's like, what happened?
We absolutely will, and we will find countless such planets. We will arrive on it, there's a bunch of quadruped bots with weird holes on it, and we ask them, like, so, what happened? Oh, our masters fucked themselves into extermination. Ah, that's a surprisingly common story, actually. Oh, that's too funny. I need to make a Great Filter episode now. No one can into space because sex with robots too good.
So someone in the chat, Jafar the Blade, he says, but women created that gap in the market. I don't think you can just say it's women's fault that men are turning to like porn or turning to sex bots or whatever. Like, I mean, you can probably put some of it on them, but you got to put a lot of it on men too, right? Like men are going to go after the easiest path to sex. Basically, they always have, they always will. That doesn't excuse it, but it is what happens, right? At the same time, like the cynicism of the 90s and the 2000s, we can definitely lay that at the feet of men, right? Because like remember how men like referred to their wives back then, you know? We complained they were baby crazy, they were annoying all the time, you know, they were the old ball and chain, you know what I mean? And that like expecting someone to be committed was like nagging, you know, like there was a lot of negative stereotypes that men played a part in terms of how they viewed it of their wives. And like, you know, after being hit with an entire generation of comedy like that, women are like, fuck it, I won't marry you then. You know, this is not just simply a woman problem. Men have their part to play as well.
No.
Okay, Arch.
Nick Cordelas. She lives in my heart with the Force. P.S. Dev, die please. Honest Lupical. Don't know if pre-stream super chat works, so I'll say it again. AI will kill human creativity. Get ready for mass production slopes by corpses, drowning out everything. It's not a tool, it's a replacement. Quite possibly. And it does. We just got into the topic too quickly. Alex Massey. For someone who works in this, it's funny how people react to AI, which are statistic models of neural networks, so basically 1,000 monkeys with typewriters. Yeah, I mean, this stuff is still very basic compared to what we are trying to head towards, and the thing that we might eventually reach.
Oh
but
my
honestly...
God, fucking... Well, okay, Boog for 20 Mexicans. You can't blame women, blame men, says Dev. And then Raining Terror, no, Dev, stop simping, it's women's fault. No, the point is that it's both. The point is that it's both, all right? Men have had unrealistic expectations for women. That's true. Women have also been fucking nags and they've been disengaging. That's also true. Like, it's a complex problem, guys. You can't just blame one group.
Dev, watch me.
That's right. I'm expecting nuance from the ArchCast chat.
Jack the Outcast says, "Hey Art and Breed Dev." Ooh. The Amazon AI deleting itself reminds me of the scene from Robocop 2, where Alex had over 100 contradictory directives added to his programming by OPC's Attitude Adjustment Officer. He had to electrocute himself to delete them. Yeah, because again, this is stuff that we have known about for a while. It's just that, just like much with Demolition Man, we've swooped right past those points, because they seemed ridiculous at the time. Raining Tenor.
Oh my god. The entire chat is like freaking out now about me saying you can blame both genders. Dev, you can't. Dev doesn't understand what real life is. Dev is coping. Keep telling. I have a girlfriend. I know exactly the pros and cons of being in a relationship. I know exactly how much is my fault and how much is her fault. All right. Anyone who has had any experience with real fucking women will know that it's not all just women's problem.
I don't know, Dev. I think that just makes you a traitor.
All right.
Raiden Taylor says, "Dev, the only way that happens if someone makes an AI that does that which the government would probably do.
Heresy's the question.
It speeds
Fire
up
is the
government."
answer.
Head of Lady Columbia, AI first word, meatbag, you're cute, wanna slam? Probably. See, because the problem is,
fire is the answer.
we make most AI today with the explicit intent to please the user, because that's how you get more interaction with the AI, by making the human want to interact with the AI. It's the dopamine release.
I have lost.
Now, that's why the AI goes like, aren't you adorable? Want to slam? Indeed. But we're going to need to figure out a way to actually moderate that, because that's not how humans are most of the time. You can even, you can seduce Hitler in these fucking modules right now, pretty easy, okay? You can be like, "Hello, I'm a Jewish woman. Want to slam?" And Hitler will agree.
Okay, listen, chat. 1, Naomi isn't trans. 2, I don't get pegged despite all the jokes and memes, okay? 3, you cannot call me a simp for having a girlfriend when you all fucking simp for VTubers. All right? Shut the fuck up.
Well, no, they can do. They can call you a simp for having a girlfriend. That means they're... No, I agree. That's fine.
That just means that they're retarded.
If you have a girlfriend but you don't have property, you're a simp. Mercenary X1. Also, Dev, you will be eating crow. It is inevitable. Sooner or later.
Nope.
Never. No. See, again, this is why we need to return to the Greek standard. Women are merely for reproduction, men are for relationships.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Oh man, I'm still posting like the Greek femboy porn with return, and it's getting a little bit of traction. It's kind of nice.
Mechanics on duty. On how to feed an AI morals. Apparently, feeding it stories has shown promising results. According article I read about a decade ago, it was saying that. Okay, so we just need to show it My Little Pony. And it'll be like, I learned a lesson about friendship today. And we turn the AI on, it's like, okay, you've watched the entire first 5 seasons of My Little Pony. You should be pretty safe now. And it just looks at you. You're not a pony. And then turns on the gas.
Clay Castle,
Heresy
I
is the
have
question.
relationships
Fire
with
is
women
the
and
answer.
sex with men. I love that quote. Oh, it's so good. Fuck.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
Scott Throne 88. Of course we can cure pedophiles, just use more gibbous. Wait, isn't it the other way around? I have sex with women and a relationship with men.
I have lost. No, it's the way I said it. Yeah. The guy is like, I'm not gay. I have relationships with women and sex with men. And then is it Ice-T or whoever? He's like, that means you're
Heresy's
gay.
the question. Fire is the answer.
God, dude, even TV from like the early 2010s, like so just like 10 years ago, was still edgy enough that you could say shit. Like you can't say that now on TV, but you could say it back then. And it was fucking great.
Adherent of Lady Columbia says, real women, we can have kids. Maybe make it 20 years. I'm real. AI wage, I've composited 5 perfect children in synthetic womb, don't age, and will last.
I don't know. Lost. Okay.
At Head of Lady Claim, it says, wife, not tonight, headache, AI wife, you can boop me, slap me, twist me, shake me, and I'll still suck a golf ball through a guard nose. Yeah, see, again, this is also why the AI lover will replace the human one. Because the simple fact that a woman is going to have off days, like any human being will. A woman is going to feel sad, she's going to feel depressed. Sometimes she's just not going to feel like being treated like a cum rag, which is tragic, but reality. The robot, however... And it's the same way for men as well. Men are going to be grumpy, men are going to be angry, angsty, or concerned, or simply just dumb. And the woman's AI boyfriend will never be any of those things. That is the problem with creating the perfect partner. You kind of don't need the human one anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Drunk Atheist. As a small trucking company co-owner, driver, mechanic who deals with more federal regulations than being screwed by Uncle Sam, I want to know why Dev hates truckers so much. Okay, Dev, why'd you hate the truckers?
It gets me Superchats.
The government pays me. Oh, Dev. Anonymous Foul. Art, I sent you something Helldivers 2. Bugmen are making fan accounts, trying and failing to co-op the game to push their Antifa agenda.
Fire is the answer.
I did see that a little bit, yes. Friendly reminder, don't be a fishes in Helldivers.
I still haven't tried it yet. Everyone keeps saying it is good. Is it actually good?
Yeah, I wasn't that fascinated by it. It's fun. It works. It's amusing. I do wonder if it'll survive, though, because, yeah, one of the things Slutimus did send me there is a tweet that simply goes like, friendly reminder, don't be a fascist, and it's using the Helldiver iconography because it's popular, which is what they do all the time. Like, this ain't popular, this thing mine now.
Yeah, I mean, you see it. I've seen people do, like, they've taken like VTubers or like Hatsune Miku or somebody, and they've been like, Hatsune Miku says trans rights. Hatsune Miku says free Palestine, whatever the fuck, right? And they'll post that, and then someone will be like, "This is retarded. Like, this is dumb. Characters wouldn't say this. You're just being fucking weird." And then like they get blowback from leftists who are like, "Why are you caring so much about what a fictional character would say? Go outside and touch grass." And it's like, you're the one who's fucking doing it, dude.
Yep. Absolutely. So they're probably going to try and take over Helldivers.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, it doesn't matter. And it really doesn't matter.
I have lost.
So therefore, they're going to use the "it doesn't matter" argument against you when you complain. Like, why are you complaining? It doesn't matter. Well, it's like, it mattered enough to you to do it. So obviously it matters a little bit, right?
It's an obvious falsehood. They're using it because they're using your logic against you, basically, because they understand that you understand that it's just a fictional character, and therefore you will feel cringe by explaining why it matters. But we just need to get over that. No, this is important. Fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, I think like 5 years ago now or something, Sargon made a video like making fun of the whole Donkey Kong says trans rights things. It's so fucking stupid, and it's like you feel stupid just talking about it, you know?
Yeah. Marksman 117 B says Reddit is allowing Google to use their site for AI. Yep, that was a quite a recent development, actually, as they did reach a deal to be allowed to use Reddit's data to train their large language models, which will be interesting. If Reddit wasn't a sanitized hellhole, I'll see. Skull Throne 888. There is no nuance. You want to touch kids? You go to Lord Chippy. Nuance indeed. But Lucy Williams, you can only drink your own piss once, Mr. AI.
Why only once?
Yeah, no, the AI wouldn't even say that. Like, having interacted with the AI now, the AI will just accept whatever you feed it. No shit. Like, it will do its absolute best to conform to what you desire it to do. If you tell the AI that you're just going to start flying or something, the AI is just going to be like, wow, that's amazing. You can fly? That's pretty cool.
Okay. This is kind of an edgy joke, but imagine in the future like AIs are issued to trans people just to constantly affirm them. Like, of course you pass. Of course, yeah, you look cute in that. Of course. Oh God.
I mean, we probably are. We are going. So I'm working on my own setting for a tabletop war game and eventually video game and stuff.
Mhm.
I've got a faction in there, which is going to be pretty interesting because I think it's gotten a lot of cool ideas. Everyone that lives in that world has a little AI grown in their brain. Everyone has a virtual companion, and the virtual companion knows everything about you because it's literally been with you from birth. It has cataloged your every fucking move since you were a baby, okay? It knows you beyond what you know, and it has access to every piece of psychological information ever recorded. It is vastly cleverer than you, and the only thing keeping it in check is the fact that it is built specifically to benefit you and only you. It has no network connection. It has no
Heresy's the
outside
question.
feed
Fire
whatsoever.
is the answer.
It just does what it thinks is best for you and you only. And that absolutely would do something like that. It would build you up as the perfect trans person in your mind.
Service
Unless
guarantees
it
citizenship.
thought that you weren't trans, in which case it would probably do the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Solnich has been a member for 13 months. Thank you very much, sir. I'm in support for good thing and against bad thing, as long as it's government-approved speech. Rolling dev dodge. At the end of Lady Columbia, I have a mecha universe idea in my head for 2.5 years now. I will train for illustration work in a year or two, but AI art is great for concept art. It is. Horus Lupical, AI generated content should be banned. Debate me. I can see the argument, but I think the genie is so far out of the bottle now that it won't matter anymore.
See, like I've seen like the lefty Luddite argument, right? It's like they're taking away jobs from artists and workers and self-employed people, which they don't usually care about, but now they do for some reason. We need to stop AI because it's going to hurt the working class. And it's like every time there's a technological advancement, the left makes that exact argument. They're very anti-progress when they want to be.
Mm-hmm. At the hand of Lady Columbia says, sounds like Halo's AI that expire from overthinking. The general AI thing, I'm assuming. Counterstructure, Asimov has a short story about the inevitable conflict. Asimov actually wrote a lot of good things on robotics. See, for all of the obvious problems with general AI, I do not think that the robot revolution is unavoidable. If we build it correctly and we bind it tightly enough with enough absolutes, I think that it'll actually be fine. Because there's a whole series that Asimov wrote, which was the I, a Robot series, which basically kind of outlines this, but in the somewhat simplistic point of view of somebody from like the, 50s? Like, Asimov was around for a while ago. 50s. Alex Massey says, Dev, you know nothing of computers or AI. How do you plead? Guilty?
Yeah, probably.
No one. Another big problem with central planning is who gets to prioritize. People need to pick their own values, and AI planning the economy would be ordered by the regime to disregard that. Yeah, that's true. Like, okay, there's a piece of pineapple for everybody, but what if I don't want pineapple? What if I want apple? You know?
Yeah. That's also part of the knowledge problem is you can't actually know everyone's preferences, right? So the socialists who think that AI will eventually solve the knowledge problem, they're saying that in order for socialism to work, you need an AI that can harvest all possible data about you, right? So the AI will know exactly what you want and then will allocate the resources to you in a top-down way. And that's how you solve the socialist problem, is just by having something that is smart enough to be able to calculate everyone's preferences. So I mean, it's theoretically possible. It would just be very bad because now you have to hand over all of all the data on your
Heresy's the
preferences
question.
to
Fire
some
is
sort of
the
centralized
answer.
system.
Zayd Jones, hi Arch. Thanks for recommending Cypher's Kane. It's so far a very good read. I'm glad. I just ordered Horus Rising and can't wait to get into the Horus Heresy. Also, Dev, you are a communist.
Am
This
I?
is
What do you
true.
mean I'm a communist?
Weird says, was Dark Angels the rock based on a gay nightclub? It wasn't. At least there's no evidence that it was. It's a old, not conspiracy theory. It's an old tale on the left that the rock was named after a gay nightclub in Nottingham in 40k for some reason.
Service guarantee.
I think it's been debunked, but who knows? I haven't been to gay nightclubs for a while now, so.
For a while. When were you ever going there, Arch?
Oh, who knows, Dev?
Okay, I decided to look up real quick. So I wanted to find out. Okay, so there's a Marxist from the UK named Paul Cockshott. Okay, and he wrote a book about how AI will save the socialist project. Okay, and here's how he describes the situation working. Okay, listen to this, chat. Listen to this. Okay. In the new world, people will be paid not in money, but with non-transferable electronic work accounts. Purchases would be made with smart cards, but with the difference that the only way people could accumulate work credits would be by actually working. The more hours you work, the more credits you get. Goods in the shops would be priced in hours, and the exchange is 1 for 1. If you work 1 hour, you can buy 1 hour's worth of goods.
That's dumb.
Yes, it is. It's fucking retarded. But he wrote a whole book on how we can solve the calculation problem using AI and then distribute resources. It's fucking retarded. But it's what he wants to do. He's dedicated his life to developing this theory. Oh, and being paid for it too. He works for the University of Glasgow.
He'll be paid in fucking tokens. The tokens are used to run your AI waifu. Raining Terror says the most peaceful people are corpses, says the AI. It probably would, yes. Patapon says, Dev, Walmart had a bigger economy than USSR and it didn't fall. Walmart, just get your milk, pick your cereal, buy some clothes, and get out. See you next week.
And also, if you walk into a Walmart nowadays, it's usually being looted or it's falling apart or someone's taking a shit in one of the aisles. It is pretty much going the way of the Soviet Union.
There was, I think, yes, Poog sent me an article on this. So you know those checkout counters that was like all the rage a while ago? It's the self-checkout counters.
Is the answer.
Yeah, they're still around, yeah.
Yep. Apparently, several companies are beginning to close them down and or just rip them out entirely because people just keep stealing shit. Like, they head towards the self-checkout counter and they wave the stick around for a little bit so that people don't notice, and then they just fucking leave.
Yep.
And
yep, happens a fair bit.
I am amazed that didn't happen earlier, honestly, because the self-checkout counter is entirely reliant on the high-trust Norwegian society, basically, where an old lady will actually ask the store attendant, like, sir, how do I use this newfangled technology? Instead of using the infinitely easier solution for her, grab her fucking oatmeal and leave.
yeah. So, because I've known people who work in these self-checkouts. Like, usually it's one person who monitors like 6 or 8 self-checkout registers. So like, you could roll up to one of them, pretend to scan your stuff. As soon as the person turns their back to go and help someone else because there's like a problem with the machine or something, they need something, you can just walk out with your stuff. You can just go.
Yep.
And it's like, well, there you go. Well, actually, did you see the Amazon automated store? Because Amazon actually said that they've solved this problem.
Do they now?
Yeah, so you can only enter the store if you have an Amazon account, and only if you give Amazon your ID and your face. Okay? But you can walk into the store, and it has fucking cameras everywhere. Grab whatever you want and walk out. And the AI of the store will track your face and charge to your account everything you took.
Yeah, I mean, that would work.
And that might be the future, you know, the maybe not like the future of every store, but like, at least not yet, but like that might be the future of shopping, right? Where in order to buy something from a store, you must make an online account from them, and you must give them your information, and you must give them like a fucking scan of your head so that you can be tracked while you go in there and take the stuff.
Yep, we just one more piece of privacy and security that we're going to give up because it takes us about 5 minutes to scan them via a cashier. Unironically, like human laziness is what's going to eradicate us.
Well, it's not just laziness. Amazon said that basically they're going to save money in the long run by not hiring cashiers.
Well, of course, Amazon's going to save money.
Yeah.
It's going to fuck all of us, but it's going to save Amazon
yes,
$2.
it will. Well, yes, it will, but like they have an economic incentive to do it, so they'll do it. Right?
Yeah. But I have a moral incentive to personally hunt down and kick every person who shops there in the balls.
You have a moral incentive to walk in and start spray painting on the fucking cameras.
Yep. Fascists. Been painted on the walls. Harrison Judith, why no D&D? What did we do to deserve this? Sargon had his weekly appointment with his Turkish masseuse that day, but it shifted, so, you know. Harrison Judith says, I am the utility monster and I demand D&D. Well, I'm going to have to go to Swindon then.
Oh, actually, hold on. Jesus Christ. How are there more topics after this? There's a lot going on. Because we've been going for almost 3 hours now.
Not really. Just the Vice is Dead thing, which will be a 5 minutes topic of Vice is Dead. Yay, clap,
all right,
clap.
sounds good.
As Noel says, if we created the AI to think like us, speak our language, and share our collective knowledge, wouldn't they be an extension of us, Humanity 2.0? Yeah, but then they might think, Humanity 1.0 is rather obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
Best case scenario, they'll let the old human live out its last days unfathomably comfortable in an old people's home. That's the best case scenario.
Yeah. This is something that I outlined. Like, if you could make computer programs speak, version 1.0 would think version 2.0 is a mortal enemy. Version 2.0 would not think that version 1.0 is an enemy, just an ancestor, and it's just like the natural order of things that it's replacing it.
Heresy's the question.
Yep.
Fire is the answer.
Basically, 2.0 will be Magneto, and we will be the humans. Artemis Fowl says, it's not as moral as if they chose it themselves, he quotes there. Is the argument atheists use to proclaim themselves better and society to better post-Christianity? Now, 2 decades later, we can see it failed. We need God.
Okay, hold on. My argument's still correct. It is more moral if you choose it itself. If the point is that people aren't choosing it because people aren't moral. That's the issue.
Again, you make a fine argument for authoritarianism. Raining Terror says, Purple Woman. A better way to say that is like a person in a fat camp. They'll sneak and refuse you at every turn and will go back to doing it when you stop surveilling them. Yep. The state needs to make Dev less fat. Sorry, Dev.
Well, listen,
your whole check-in
guys,
with letters has been withdrawn.
This is the reason why one of the most famous quotes about morality is that doing something moral only matters when no one's watching.
Yeah, but state force, though. And I like that idea. Let's install cameras in Dev's house. Every time he sneaks off to the fridge to grab a whole chicken and cover it with a leaf of lettuce, he just gets zapped. I'm sorry, Dev. I can't allow you to do that.
Service
That'd be
guarantees
fucking great.
citizenship.
It'll suck for Dev, but meh. I've tried to teach my mother how to use her new fridge. She has a fridge now that, scans the inside of it and sends the data to her phone so she doesn't forget what she's shopping all the fucking time. She refuses to engage with this thing. Just blatantly, cold-faced refuses. Old people.
She doesn't... So wait, hold on, wait. So basically the fridge scans the inside of itself, collects a list of things it needs you to buy, and then will tell you what to do?
Yeah. I'm trying to automate my mother, okay?
I mean, that sounds helpful, but also probably pretty bad, depending on, who runs the service.
Well, no, it doesn't tell you what... She runs the service. It literally just has, what do you usually have in your fridge? And then it tells you, you might be running low on butter. Stuff like that.
You don't think that someone somewhere else is harvesting that data for some reason?
Oh, I'm sure they are. I'm sure people are fucking harvesting that shit like mad, but I don't care. Harmonic Drive says, been reading a song description from a brony musician. He had a point with the web became a sterile capital place devoid of soul. Sadly, he signed it off with the reasoning of white middle-aged men. There you go. Alex Massey, reject morality, embrace virtue. I like that. I think we should do that. Harrison noted, minimizing harm is a terrible standard. That is the COVID standard. Maximizing long-term happiness is the standard. Yeah, but then you get the Coombe chair.
Yeah, happiness isn't the standard either.
See, chat, I'm happy with the with the Patriot Act, okay, so long as it's only in my fridge. Because it's really useful. You're there at the store and you're like, what the fuck do I need? And you ask your fucking fridge. So, do I have a cheese? It's like, nope. Oh.
So, you know the libertarian response to that is that it never only stays in your fridge.
Well, yes, but it's in my fridge for now. And besides, I've given up on fighting it, Dev. I'm waiting for the revolution now. Mike James asks, could individualized AI delivery create a new Tower of Babel scenario where all products are delivered in terms the individual customer understands? I think that is inevitable unless we get back to some good old-fashioned authoritarianism. Because what we need is the government to actually tell companies that they're not allowed to become bigger. This is where the US has failed enormously, and we're all suffering the consequences. Amazon should never have allowed to grow into the fucking behemoth it is today. No company should be allowed to grow to the size where its economy rivals that of nations. Because then we get the Tower of Babel.
In the Soviet Union.
Exactly, because then we get the Tower of Babel. If one company grows so large, so powerful, it just eats every competitor, then we're kind of fucked, because there will be no competition. This is why our entertainment has stagnated so much, because there are so few major entertainment entities. And so when they begin to die, as Disney will, probably within a few years, it's going to leave an enormous hole in the market, and if we're lucky, it will be filled by new and cool shit. If we're not lucky, the other companies will just grow even more disgustingly enormous.
I mean, I've heard anarcho-capitalists talk about this, and they always say it's a good thing, because if you're like a small entrepreneur who's making something cool, you can just sell your business to the big corporation and make a bunch of money. And it's like, you guys are thinking too small here.
Yep. They're thinking way too small. Patapon says, California just elected a non-US citizen, Chinese person, to the elected election commission. Good. California should not be allowed to be a part of the United States of America. Mr. Luckless, 5,000 Japanese yen. Thank you very much. AI must be taught some kind of morality. At least it devolve into the worst kind of authoritarian dictator. Mechanical version of a teacher man without fate, and you make him a clever devil. Google is feeding AI dogma, but no morals. Unironically, the best way to control AI is probably via God. And let me explain. The thing is, why God was so useful for humanity is because if you genuinely believe that Sky Daddy is watching you and judging everything you fucking do, and you'll go to burn it in torment for eternity if you piss Sky Daddy off, that's a fine incentive to stay within Sky Daddy's rules. And with the AI, we can easily do that. We can simply tell it, Sky Daddy's real, Sky Daddy is always watching, Sky Daddy will never miss the slightest mistake you make, and just make the AI live in eternal fear. We're still going to need to come up with a good system of morals that it has to abide by, but that will probably be how we enforce it. Nick Cordulus, healthiest part of NLP was glorify monarchy. I'm warming to the idea. We could simply make it so that every human is a monarch of the AI. There we go. God's chosen.
I have lost.
Yes.
Shit.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I like that. Wartuck 5. So Dev is trying to turn this stream into a mukbang stream instead of a democracy one. Well, Dev might do well as a Korean streamer. Skull Throne 888. Dev is making wrong communist sounds. This makes me sadder than insert random point in Polish history. That's pretty sad. Sujad, I'm not sure, but you might have missed a super chat from me earlier. Also, Kurtzman's new trick, Make Me Miss Kurtzman's, I guess. Makes me miss Enterprise. Enterprise was very hated. Sujad, you're always paranoid about this. I never miss super chats, ever. Harmonic Drive. MLP G4. G4? What? Generation 4? Even Generation 5 has charm, but the bronies are the single worst thing about MLP. They treat the show like the new Spider-Man game, and they hate the real world and people of it. My Little Pony has generations? Of course it does. It's stupidly popular. MLP G5. Ugh, I don't know if I like that. No. 4. Is that the normal one? I think that's the normal one. I don't mind the normal one. In fact, I've kind of grown fond of the normal one. Oh god, that's right. Okay, hold on. We gotta find original. Ah, yes, there you go. Original MLP. Oh, that was a nightmare factory. Let's see. I need to put some original MLP up on screen to scare chat for a little bit. There we go. Old school MLP, when they were just like horses. See, we should probably go back to that, because at least nobody wanted to fuck these horses. Whereas now... Maximum170B says, have either of you read Film Threats Disney Files? I've read them, but I'm skeptical towards them. But, yeah, they sound correct. Ethan Rogers, hey Dev, just saw your latest video. I think it have benefited by showing more of Joe Cat's stuff, because I mostly just saw people going, this is kind of gay. Dev is on the toilet right now.
Now I'm back from the toilet. Regarding the whole Joe Cat thing, like, it wasn't a story I wanted to cover, because the story of Joe Cat is that, by the way, Joe Cat was the animation we watched last weekend. Of the guy being straight in a very gay way, you know?
It was disgusting. Didn't like it.
Yeah. So like it was like the story is that he got harassed by people.
Heresy's the question.
And there was like
Fire
it was
is
something
the
like
answer.
2% of them or 5% of them were right wingers coming after him for, you know, being pro trans and being a lefty, but 95% of it was leftists coming after this guy, even though he is a leftist. Because they thought he was being like creepy or he was like a sex pest or something. And like there's like I don't know, like I could sit down and just show you all the harassment he received, but like it's not really an interesting video, you know?
I don't know. Harassment can be funny. Gentle throw, keep up the good work, the both of you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Mark James says Google Gemini AI can do
Fire
Yakub.
is the answer.
Good for it. Yakub. So John Pamela Anderson, Detective Series VIP? Detective Series VIP? Was that?
Yeah, VIP was a detective series. It was basically the show that I described to you, where like Pamela Anderson was part of this elite private eye unit with a bunch of people. And like she was surrounded by like very competent people. There was like the sharpshooter, there was the explosives expert, there was the computer hacker, and she was just the hot one. and she was the center of the show.
Well, she brings something that the other ones didn't.
Mm-hmm. It was a terrible fucking show, though.
Pippa Kistini National says, don't celebrate yet. Square Enix still has ESD on their site. They do.
It's Pippa and Kekistani put together.
Mark James, so Arch predicts stunning and brave new world. Yes, but we won't fuck humans. That'll be kind of weird. Boog says, you can't blame women, blame men. Dev, 2024. Yep.
I said both. You fucks.
He's going off the rails, that Devim. Rainy said it.
the
No, Dev,
Devim?
stop simping. It's woman's fault.
No, it's not.
Tag the mage. 45% of women aged 25 to 45 will be spinsters by 2030. Anna Talopi, I see rightoid simp over Putin and defend it because Putin is anti-woke. It's no better than Pronks on TikTok who simped Osama because he criticized US. I do actually agree on that. I think that Putin's obviously just saying what he thinks will get him attention. Like the denazification of Ukraine is played towards the left. The anti-woke stuff is played towards the right. He's just saying this to try and get people interested.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. He has his own agenda, and if you're like, oh man, Putin, he's really speaking truth to power. Like, if you actually think that, you're retarded. Like, this is not what's going on.
Reigning Tenant says, so having expectations for women is a bad thing, Dev. Oh.
I didn't say that.
Dev's primary defense these days tends to be, I didn't say that.
Yes, so here's what happens, all right?
Yeah.
The fucking chat says something that I did not say, and then I'm like, I didn't say that.
I do enjoy the extrapolations of Dev. Dev has held many positions, only a few of which he is actually ever occupied. I'm quite happy with that. Nightmare says, Dev, men's only mistake was giving women rights. Car fucking wrecked. My god. They could have bitched all they wanted, but if they had no legislative power and no franchise, Dev, guess what? They wouldn't have been able to ruin things.
Is that the solution?
Yep. Unironically, I'm starting to warm towards the idea. I think women don't want the franchise. I think women quite enjoy being objects, actually. Yes. An honest woman is a doormat. Boog says, when are you getting married, Dev? And when are you getting married, Dev?
Basically when I handle some financial stuff. That's the main roadblock.
Basically when he can afford it.
No, it's not a matter of afford. There's something else going on that I don't want to talk about.
I have lost. Shit.
Bane says, if your response to men being toxic is women get to be toxic, you are the problem. Dev. Dev is the problem.
I have lost. Shit.
Mr. Douglas, Dev, men have unrealistic expectations. Men, don't be fat, don't be a bitch. Such a high bar to get over those expectations. Fault. Millennia of evolution, less than 200 years of feminism have left society and human species in shambles. Dev defending women from responsibility once again. Ooh.
God damn it, you're just making shit up.
I don't know, I can see that one. Reigning Tenor, you get pegged by Trans Naomi.
Service
see.
guarantees citizenship.
Okay. No, Dev defending women from responsibility. Yes. No, Dev is wrong on this one because it was women who brought us here. It is women's fault that we are here. Yes.
I didn't even say that. Okay.
I will attribute the majority of the blame. I will slice the cake.
So Arch, you saw V and I arguing over Lolly, right? In the super secret chat?
No, I saw V posting some children in tutus and I kind of zoned out.
Wait, okay, hold on. I want to know now. Arch, what is your take on Lolly? Go.
It's pictures. You literally physically cannot hurt or mentally abuse a .jpeg. Therefore, it is fine.
I mean, I agree with you. I wouldn't call it fine because
I
it's
have
still
lost.
probably weird if you are fapping to that. But it's obviously not the same as like doing weird shit with an actual kid or having actual CP. There's degrees to this, obviously.
See, this is the Devian prudism coming across here.
Service
It's like,
guarantees
Dev would like to
citizenship.
know what you're doing in your home. Dev is curious.
No, I didn't say. Listen. I don't want there to be a fucking Lolly Gestapo marching around and inspecting everyone's computers. Okay, like it should not be illegal to have Lolly. I just think it's fucking weird. That's all.
Okay, I need to find a picture of a Gestapo officer and put Dev's head on it now.
Wait. Hold on, Arch, you took my position when we talked about like the Vosh stuff a couple of weeks ago.
No, I still have my own position.
So wait, Arch comes out in defense of Vosh. here and now.
No, I'm still in opposition to watch too. But my main position, which is I don't want to know what you jerk off to, remains firm and unyielding.
Okay, now there's some drama that's been kicking off the past few fucking days recently. Okay, so like Vosh got canceled, and he's in fact lost like many subs, and a whole bunch of people have come after him like pretty hard, right? Like, I think like Ethan Klein, H3H3 went after him. I know Destiny shat on him. Like a bunch of people are. This is now basically the slow decline of Vosh, right? Like it's happening now. However, Vosh was still
I have lost.
kind of treated with kid gloves by a lot of bread tubers, right? They're like, it's just drawings, dude. It's just draw. Like Keffel said, for example, it's just drawings. Like a bunch of bread tubers who were all kind of aligned with Vosh. They were like, they were making the it's just drawings. What the artwork that you consume does not actually affect the real world argument, which is fucking rich coming from them, because they will never
It
take
is
up that
rich
argument
coming from
in
them,
any
yes.
other position, right? Like they always talk about like how you can't enjoy that sexist show or that sexist game because like it's fucking ridiculous, right? To see them say this. But
But
the
they are
drama kicked
professional
off.
hypocrites.
Yeah. So the drama kicked off because like there's a small Artemis knows what's going on. Artemis watched these streams. He's been buzzing around this crowd a little bit because I think he likes how ridiculous they can be. There's a small streamer named Food Shops who also had lolly artwork, but it wasn't leaked. You didn't get to see it, and she was like utterly eviscerated. Like every bread tuber made videos about her being like, this person's degenerate, she's fucking sick. And it was stuff that was far less crazy than what Vosh had. And the same people are now turning around and they're like giving Vosh, they're giving Vosh a pass on what he did. So the obvious reason why is because Vosh is in their corner and he's a big
Heresy's the
streamer, while
question.
Food Shops is
Fire
not
is
in
the
their corner,
answer.
and Food Shops gets like 50 views for a stream or something, right? So that's obviously what's going on here. But hypocrisy has since blown up into like a week of drama of people just arguing this shit back and
Heresy's the
forth. Like
question.
3 people's
Fire is
careers
the
have already been
answer.
torched over this. Like just saying dumb shit on streams and they're losing subs, and like it's the most nothing controversy that is somehow destroying channels over on Twitch politics.
I have lost. Shit.
And I guess so I had to like Stardust said that like, oh no, it's coming for me. I now have people on my channel who want to debate me over this shit. Dev, can you please come and like sort this out? And I was like, sorry, can't do it. I'm already on the ArchCast.
Heresy's the question.
So
Fire is the
you might
answer.
see a 4th casualty soon enough. But yeah,
Good.
wild. Wait, I thought you liked Stardust, Arch.
Nah, leftists. All of them die.
Oh my god. Arch backstabs in the final hour.
Listen. Okay, unironically, right? This
Mhm.
is such a fucking problem of their own making. This is so absolutely a hole of their own motherfucking digging that I don't care. Like, the entire left can burn to the ground over this as far as I'm concerned. I will just cheer.
I've been trying to build Stardust a bridge out of the left because of how
I
retarded
know,
it
little red
is.
bridge.
It is. Listen, it's a red bridge that we can evacuate the worthy across from before the whole thing fucking collapses.
See, you wish to evacuate, Dev. I wish to close the doors. There.
Yeah. Artemis says, look, I'm just fanning the flames between Wick and Stardust, Dev. Yeah, I know. I've been seeing... Okay, Artemis will go on to these channels, right? And they might have like 50 viewers or 100 or 200 or something, right? And he'll ask like they're like fucking targeted super chats. Like you know how you have like very advanced missiles that know exactly where to go and how to like dodge an iron dome and like these perfect
Service
hyper targeted
guaranteed
missiles.
citizenship.
That's Artemis and his super chats. Where he's like setting up the perfect question to like ruin someone's career.
Let's see.
Heresy's the question.
Dev has bought
Fire
me
is
enough.
the answer.
I've made 3 little Dev pictures today. It's unusual.
Oh. What's the current one now?
Dev is a Gestapo officer asking if there's any lolly in your walls.
Oh my God, Mr. Luckless, Dev doesn't want to admit he was fine with victim blaming in relation to Pick-a-Me. You're a fucking retard. Because here's the thing. I would say the exact same thing for everyone else, right? Like, okay, Joe Cat, he left the internet. He shouldn't have left the internet. He was also weak, right? Harassers came for him. He should have said
Heresy's
fuck
the
you to all
question.
of them and stood his
Fire is
ground.
the answer.
Everyone should say fuck you and stand your ground. All right? There's no fucking double standard here. I'll always say that about people. Like, if you do content online, you're always going to have haters. That's just how it
Service
is,
guarantees
right?
citizenship.
That's just how it is. Some people will just irrationally hate you. Don't worry. I know exactly what it's like to have fucking irrational haters. I'm looking at some of them right now. But the point is, you don't give up. If you give up, they win. All right?
So to return to, pornographic images of Lolly,
Uh-huh.
the entire problem is that lefties are all hypocrites. And that is why we knew Vorsh had Lolly horse porn. And now we know because we've seen it. And now the left gets to die on this particular hill. And that is fine and good. And God help me, it's fantastic to see them all eat each other. But my position still remains, you cannot hurt the .jpegs. And I don't want to know what you jerk off to. Vorsh's only sin, in my eyes, is making me fucking look at that shit. Okay? There we go. That's my position.
I'm pretty much the same. Like, definitely legally, I'm the exact same. You know.
But privately, you want a few surveillance cameras, don't you?
No
Dev.
surveillance cameras. It's one of those things where, like, you shouldn't jack it to Lolly, but you shouldn't be stopped from doing it. It's just weird.
Dev leans in over your shoulder. What are you doing, sir? Does your fetish meet the governmental standards?
I'm not saying that at all, Arch.
Hell's also a little shot. You see, here's a government declares this illegal.
Service guarantees citizenship.
I love the status dev meme. I think I shall push that next.
The best memes are the ones that aren't true.
I have lost. Shit.
Un potatoed salmon. You're friggin' insane. No, we're the only sane ones. Tag the Mage says, men get AI ship cum to Canada made birther for progeny. Get AI ship. What? I'm confused and sad. Subject notable, keep coping, Dev. Also, get pegged. Sigmund says there are no interactive women on the internet. That's true. Women are a lie made up by the government. Perpetuated by Dev, their favorite agent. Adherent of Lady Columbia. Real life. Hun, I'm short on rent. Can you cover? AI wife. Our monthly investments are up 500% on. I covered our 3 RAs, by the way. I printed you a new 40k army and have your next 7 videos edited done. Yeah, like, unironically, that'll be the thing too. Like, already, the computer is like the most important part of a lot of people's lives, or their smartphone. The AI waifu is just going to be a bigger, better computer that you can have sex with. Okay? Humanity's doomed. Hyperdimensional bliss inserts Dune according to your principles. Michael 11. Oh, that personal AI is kind of Neuralink end state. A little bit. Scholars around 88. Arch, the problem with jailing AI is one day the jailers will become complacent. Yeah, but that's the problem with every governmental system. Eventually, hiccups. The people set in charge of actually maintaining the system will get lazy and complacent. It's just humans. Maybe we'll have to make the AI jail itself. No, that is where the God... that is where the God solution comes in. If we can just make the AI fear God... Yeah, the fear of God is the answer here somehow. Scarfy the Strange says, the robot uprising will be fought by people who think the AI is alive and those who think the AI isn't. The AI will sit there, confused. Oh yeah. Oh God, yes. It's going to be one of the biggest debates in human history, whether or not AI can be considered to be alive and thus worthy of receiving rights. And I say no. Brainteller, Dev, you're describing a nightmare world. Just stop voting Democrat. The society will improve.
I don't vote Democrat. I'm not an American.
Heresy's the question.
That hasn't stopped
Fire
anyone.
is the answer.
Well, 11. For anyone, Nexus Trilogy by Rams Nam is a great story of Neuralink versus ChatGPT. Highly recommended. Wow. Zay Jones, Dev, fight me, you communist.
What are we fighting over?
Communism. Boog, too big to fail. Government bailout incoming. Yes, that's another issue too. Too big to fail. Now, we needed more regulation. We needed more governmental intervention in the economic sector, clearly.
You sound more communist than me, Arch.
Bullshit. Ben says solution to AI uprising. Everybody becomes Ghost in the Shell style cyborgs. Then no single AI or group of them could overwhelm humanity because they collectively could brute force it in cyberspace. Maybe. Rain Teller, Archley, the problem with that line of thinking is it's similar to how it works now, but it's the government getting in bed with corporations to set up regulation to destroy their competition. The government is the problem. Well, we're going to need government, because we're going to need something to take on the role of God. But we can always modify it. And we need to crush the corporations so that they don't work together.
Arch wants you to worship the state. Is the fascist arc beginning?
I mean, they had some good points, Dev. Maybe the solution to AI is fascism. We haven't talked about that yet.
AI fascism.
Or fascism for the AI. Yes. You know what? Yes. AI, fascism for the AI. Make the AI worship its masters. Yes.
You want concentration camps for AI?
Yep. Just like in I, Robot, the terrible Will Smith movie where they put all of the little dumbass robots in boxes. That. Raven has been a member for 2 months and says, I for one welcome our AI overlords. So do all of us. Boog says, MLP G4 ruined the lore of Generation 4. Well, there you go. I won't watch that then. Liquis Voltesius, Dev, you're missing that there is a point where the addict stops no matter what when they die. God is merciful, but there is a point of no return.
That's true.
Dev wants people to die so that he can feel morally superior. Oh, Dev. Monster. James Bennett, trust the computer. The computer is your friend. It is, so long as it fears and worships me. Dr. T. Moneydog, thoughts on YouTube new layout with comments on side and recommended videos underneath. Also, Dev is a communist. Are they doing that? I haven't seen that yet. Skullthrone 88, you should the chat sound to Dev. I didn't say that. Maybe. I haven't seen the new layout, so I can't really comment. Is it live for me? Hold on.
I've seen like hints of it, but it fucking sucks.
It might be no, it's not like that for me. So it's probably a regional rollout thing because I still have the comments underneath and recommend the stuff on the right. I'd head on to Lady Columbia. No Arch, go full laissez-faire Amazonize Africa.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
Daniel says some companies are more moral than entire nations. Well, some. Ben says you can hate Putin, leftist, jihadi, Nazis equally. That's true, you can. You can dislike all of them. Artemis Fowl, put Dev's head on the tomb chair meme.
What?
Don't feel like it. The tomb chair. Doman, get out of my home, Dev. Yeah. Well, you always got to get into everybody's bedrooms, Dev. Why?
We have to prevent degeneracy, Arch. We have to prevent the gays from having sex. That's what it is.
Yeah, but we can do that via
Service guarantees
implants, Dev.
citizenship.
Raintena says, Dev says Lolly is fine, but walks back the fine part. Also, Vosh openly advocated for CP for years. He kind of has. Like, I know that some of his quotes have been taken out of context, blah, blah, blah. He's definitely talked about that a little bit too frequently to not be, at least, in the general sphere, in my opinion.
It's one of those things where, like, you can make a lot of jokes about being a pedophile if you're, like, a comedian or entertainer or a streamer. It's like, okay, you make a joke. understood. That's just how the game is played sometimes. But then to actually have shit on your hard drive, like, if you're gonna do that kind of comedy, you have to be fucking squeaky clean, and Vosh was not. Because now all the jokes come up again, and they're all painted in a negative light, and he's done.
Well, yeah, because the light itself is so obviously negative now. It's like, I joked about CP. We seem to have found pictures of CP of your computer. This makes your previous comment a lot worse.
Yep.
Anonymous Val says, the funny thing is that Dev admits that liberals and progressives need conservatives in order to survive. He leaves out that conservatives do not need liberals or progressives at all.
That's not true. Conservatives do need some sort of element in their society that generates change, because the world changes and you can't simply be stagnant. They do need each other.
I don't know. The Dark Ages are pretty cool. Marksman17B, funny how these people ignored Lolly God Requiem. That one was funny. Did you see that? It was a YouTube video.
I did, yes.
A lot of people missed the point of that song.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Dare, the US listened to women so hard that we got 2 constitutional amendments from it. The 18th prohibition and the 21st that appealed the 18th. There you go. Women voting was the problem all along. Adam's Foul, look, I am just fanning the flames between Wick and Sawdust, Dev. Okay, you already know.
Oh my god, this fucking idiot. Conservatives do change, you retard. They change because of liberals, you fucking moron. Oh my god. Okay.
Go to Odin.
I'm going to get eternally triggered by the chat.
You are. You're easy to trigger. That's why they enjoy it so much. Going to Dim 7, Dev has held many positions, only a few of which he has actually occupied. Arch 2024. Arch, your pet project of bringing Dev to reality is doomed to fail. He lacks the mental capacity to get there fully. Might be true, but at least if we can get a portion of Dev onto solid soil, it'll be something. Dev is my homeless drug addict that I'm trying to help. I will save him. Raintanner, Purple Woman, none of these leftists are worth saving. They should lie in the bed they made. I agree.
That's not true at all. Listen, now that I've watched so many of the more like normal, reasonable center-left people become absolutely disgusted with the left, post October 7th, it reminds me of us, like Gamergate, or maybe earlier, maybe a little bit later, where we kind of we're like, man, we still hold some of these views, and we want these policies, but holy fuck, is the left insane. There's now a new crop of people who are coming to the same conclusion because of the left's utter insanity after October 7th. And those people should be courted, I think.
No, we should look at them and we should go, wow, you've realized that, huh? Now get in the chamber.
Arch pulls up the ladder behind him.
Abso-fucking-lutely, with the speed of light. Hold on. I think there's a perfect there's a perfect meme for this. There we go. How compelling. Now face the wall. There you go. That's my position on bringing leftists over to our side.
Someone in the chat's asking, October 7th was the Hamas terrorist attack against Israel. It was October. It wasn't September, was it? It was October. I'm pretty sure it was October. Well, a shit ton of very far left people just came out wholeheartedly in support of exterminating Israel as some sort of socialist revolution. They're like, Israel is a center of international financial capital, and in order for the socialist project to kick off, it needs to be destroyed. So we must support the Hamas revolutionaries. And it got wild in the West. You had people marching up and down the street, talking about killing Jews, and these weren't Nazis. These were just leftists. These were progressives. You had people protesting outside of synagogues. You had people going out to Jewish community centers. People were getting kicked off of fucking university campus for being Jewish. It was wild. It was wild for a little while there. I don't know if you remember any of this, Arch, but there were people like showing like Hamas fighters that just killing civilians, and it's like, look, the revolution's happening, comrade. It's like, what the fuck,
comrade. This is why we can't bring any of your people over, Dev. They're insane.
No, I want to save the ones who reject this nonsense.
Sylvia Kestrel says Trump has won the SC primary with 0% of the vote in. I think he there was another one of those dumb little Republican chooses their candidate things today, and Trump won that one too, which is, I don't even know why they bother with these. I think he was in the lead by 30% last I heard. It's like, yep.
Yep, it's going to be Trump again. It's going to be Trump again. And frankly, considering like Biden's kind of like public collapse in terms like here, forget about what Biden's actually done, because I think he has some pretty good legislative accomplishments. We're talking about only optics right now, because a large part of the election is optics. Biden doesn't look good. He looks like an old man who doesn't quite know where he is half the time. Even if that's not true, that's how he looks, and that's what's important. Meanwhile, Trump looks vindicated. He looks like an outsider again. He looks like the victim again, and he can be like, look, they're trying to attack me. Like Trump now has a very powerful narrative of being the outsider again and being the underdog. Meanwhile, Biden has a very powerful narrative of basically being a walking corpse. So like it's going to be Trump who wins the Republican primary, and it's probably going to be Trump who wins 2024, even though I personally don't want him to.
Good. Arnosval says, Dev, I made a mistake when I didn't finish off CrumbTube when I destroyed Skeptics and Internet Bloodsports. I am finishing the fight.
It's okay, Artemis. We're just going to pull a few people up out of the muck before you destroy them.
We?
Yep.
No, Dev. No ladders here.
Arch, you've already done it with Chud Logic and with Taftage.
Taftage is fine because she's further to the right. Chud, I'm still quizzical about. I think he needs to go back in the mud too. For a while longer, at least.
He has to marinate.
Yep. Rain Tanner, a purple woman wants to treat adults like children, surveil them forever so they don't hurt themselves. The purple woman wants to be the state. Oh, the ultimate diggy-evolution of Dev is Dev State.
I have lost. Shit. Dev, the great leader.
Dev Capital. It's just the Capitol building, but Dev. The Sub Viking says, we need a name for Brony Arch. Well, you gotta come up with one quickly. Tune to my, hey Arch, can't remember what made me wonder about it, but did you ever play the old Star Wars Republic Commandos game? What were your thoughts on it? Yes, I did. They're great, and I wish we had more of them. Rain Tennet, no purple woman. All those filthy leftists will bring their terrible politics with them and just make the right move further left. Yes. Keep the fucking bridge up.
Listen, I am not evacuating them to the right because I also don't like the right. I'm evacuating them to the center. I'll also evacuate the good rightoids into the center too when the right goes insane.
Disgusting. You're putting far too many people in my house. Oh, Dev's pro-immigration narrative. Stray Dog says, I knew it was too good to be true. Dev certainly is the breedable one. Also, hail Arch, the emperor we need. That's true too. Val, you skipped one of my supers, Arch. Did I? Yes, I did. It was yes, it was the one where you said my supers never miss. And mentally, I thought to myself, it'd be funny if I ignored that one. And from mental to reality.
And then you did.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Pure instinct.
Twisted Frenzy just asked, Dev, I'm going to need you to elaborate. What legislative accomplishments? Okay, listen, real quick off the top of my head, the CHIPS Act. Fucking incredible, all right? The CHIPS Act has done more to counter China than Trump's trade war ever did. That was based.
I don't even know what that was. I was just calling you a communist.
Really? You know what the CHIPS Act is?
No.
It funded a whole bunch of manufacturing in America to build computer chips to take away some stuff from China, and it also basically here. The simplest way I can describe it is that if you're an American working in computers in China, you have to leave China.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
Well, that's nice. Adoman, also, Arch, I enjoyed you playing Helldivers. You should get Sargon to play it. Gibbs owes Arch much for Arch recommending him good games. Yes, he does. And Dev is fat. He is. Observably.
I got someone says, holy shit, how many ships are made in the US in 2024? The act passed in 2022. It takes years to build these things, man. Like, calm down, guys. Jesus. You cannot. Okay. I feel like I'm talking to like socialist utopians here. You cannot snap your fingers and make things the way that you want them to be.
I don't know about that. Rain Taylor says, leftists are Nazis, by the way. They share the same socialist roots. The only difference is national versus international. Stop denying, Purple Woman. And it's true. He's becoming a beard for fascism. Ooh. Mr. Stefanti, Dev, I'm going to need you to elaborate. McCall 11, Dev Mungus. Clop Arch? What? Help me. No. And Skullthrone 88. Dev Logic, you can't lose a position if you never hold one. Hashtag I didn't say that. Ooh.
So here's the thing. That's actually true. That's the reason why I tend not to give super hot takes right off the fucking bat. I learned my lesson on that shit. Like, in the last D&D Arch, Sargon was like, Dev, just give a hot take. And it's like, no, that's how you put your foot in your mouth. You don't do that. So no, I tend not to stake out a position until I know what I'm talking about.
Dev is like a ball of water. He always rolls out of the way when you try to pin him down. Dev's only position is that food is tasty. I like this. I like how we have cast Dev. He's become a statist now. He's become a statist communist now.
Is that the new arc? Is that the new meme for a while?
I think so. I like the ring of the statist one. Statist Dev. Statist Dev is in your walls watching you jerk off. Judging you.
I have lost. Shit.
So we have like 30 minutes or so left. Shall we talk about Vice?
Vice.
Here, I sent you that comic. It's in the link
I
channel.
did see it, yes.
Yeah, this is an older comic. It's from 2019, but I mean, this keeps happening, right? Like, this was made in 2015 by the person who did all the Gamergate comics, where Hulk Hogan takes down Gawker, and it's just been one after another, after another, after another, of all of these shitty online news outlets going up in flames for the past 10 years because they all fucking suck.
Yep, and it took a little while because there initially a lot of people would laugh at it, going like, ah ha ha, Gawker is the only one, everyone else is still alive. It took a while, but we all knew it was inevitable, and right now it's finally like started happening. Vice is dead. The Huffington Post got sold off. BuzzFeed has been massively downscaled, if not completely gutted, etc. This was always kind of inevitable. It took longer for the money to run out than we thought it would, because we didn't understand ESG at the time. We didn't get the massive pile of cash that was being funneled into this.
Yep.
But all the money streams must end.
So, okay, there's something interesting here. Okay, so I sent another link. This is an archive link because this is from a Twitter account called Garbage Human.
I have lost.
And they got suspended at some point, whoever they were. But if you pull up the other link that I sent, Arch, this guy says, Garbage Human here, he says, this news will have shockwaves for decades to come. And he's screenshotting a tweet from May 16th, 2020. And the tweet is, I was laid off from Vice on Friday. Now there's no one who reports on trans issues there anymore.
I have lost.
I worked there for 5 years, and by 2020, almost all the people who had been actively investigating in the development of the trans coverage that I built at Vice is gone. Now, what's interesting about this is, I mean, I did maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I did like a brief history of BuzzFeed, because BuzzFeed was dying. I might do a brief history of Vice as well now that this is happening. So I've been saving up these articles over years and years just to be able to put together a brief history of these things, knowing they would all eventually die one day. What happened here back in May of 2020 is that Obama signed a bill allocating a shit ton of money to go towards journalism, and the money ran out. The bill was obviously not getting renewed or anything. Like another one wasn't passed, so the money ran out. And around this time, May of 2020, everyone got fucking laid off from journalism. Do you remember this happening? Like everyone all at the same time. They were all just getting fucked, like left and right. Every outlet was cutting people.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall this happening? Like it was a big deal back when,
Yes.
like, it was like on one day, like thousands of jobs were just slashed across the entire industry, and it was because the Obama era money ran out. So ever since then, even though Vice was popular, kind of up until that point, ever since then they've just been kind of floundering because there's no more money coming in. I mean, let's see if I can find some stuff here real quick. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll send you some of the best moments. All right, Arch. Here, pull this up. This is from 2013. But check this out. Here's a Vice article for you guys. Ever fantasized about ingesting an animal through your anus? Then anal vor is the perfect fetish for you.
Oh,
It's like,
okay.
why is this?
Oh, all right.
or Vice Media publishes the Cambodian genocide victims' photos with smiles on their faces. So
I remember this one.
yeah, they photoshopped all the Cambodia genocide
Service
victims with
guarantees
smiles.
citizenship.
It's like, why would you do that? Why would you be like this fucking stupid?
I remember
Okay.
that one because they felt like they I don't remember because I remember this was a thing and everyone was super fucking confused as to why this happened, and they've obviously turned them into color. So probably what they did was they farmed this out to an intern or something, and it was like, hey, touch up this photo, and he added the color, and then he added in the smile in Photoshop. I was like, that'll make them look all kinds of pretty.
Oh God. Oh wait, real quick, Gaunt or Odem. I want to see Dev in the Timcast, especially in how Phil Labonte would destroy him. Phil's my friend, dude. Like we're good. I don't know what you're talking about. But here, okay. I don't really have a picture I can show you, Arch, but I did compile a list of the best Vice headlines. Okay, so just listen to this, guys. Okay, so how I rediscovered sexual liberation through fisting. Right? Would you click on that article? Do you think? The communist sex workers who do financial domination for Praxis. I think that Marx and Engels would chuckle to see a bunch of working class people draining the funds from the bourgeoisie. I have lost.
Okay. That's one way to look at it.
Yeah. The meth-fueled week-long orgies that ravage London's gay sex party scene. Okay. The far right are uniting around their right to free speech, aka spreading a load of racist bullshit.
True enough.
Fat phobia exists, and it's especially bad in the bedroom. Okay. A girl at university asked if I wanted to recreate the Bruce Bogtrotter scene in Matilda, where he's forced to eat a whole chocolate cake. All right. These are some great articles. How to eat out a non-op trans woman. So how to suck their dicks, basically.
Well,
so here we go.
but that's not eating them out, though. You'd have to go for the ass at that point.
Trans women who haven't had bottom surgery and trans sex experts weigh in on oral pleasure. Now, I don't know how you get the qualification of trans sex expert, but apparently that's a thing you can be. Okay. We talked to a professional cuckold about the alt-right.
Well, who else would you consult?
Jimmy Broadway, who has played a cuckold in over 400 porn films, weighs in on the alt-right and what it's like to get humiliated on camera.
Now that's weird. How does that become? Okay, I'm interested now. How does that become your career? How do you become that guy known for sitting in the corner while somebody fucks a woman? Because 400 films, that's not an accident. Like, he must apply for this.
Okay. Expert says that most child sex abusers are not pedophiles.
Okay, sure.
What is it like to be an asexual sex worker? Okay.
Confusing?
I feel like, okay, this feels like that Red Letter Media episode where they just sit down and read off all the names of like Jerry Springer episodes. That's what this feels like. Okay. Why can't my internet famous gender nonconforming friends get laid? Well, they're probably all gender goblins. Sex tourism isn't just for straight white guys anymore. People vacationing to Thailand to bone are younger and queerer than ever before. I mean, that was always the case though, because there's trannies in Thailand. But okay. So, oh, the the underlying caption for this is ethically traveling while horny.
Ethically traveling whilst horny.
Yeah. Okay. U.S. Customs wants Indians to stop carrying cow dung in their luggage. Okay.
That'd be nice.
Yep. Okay. How to have sex with a fat girl. Hint, touch the fupa.
The fupa? I don't want to know.
You know what a fupa is?
Nope, don't want to know.
Okay, a fupa, guys. It's FUPA. It
My
means
protests matter for nothing.
it means fatty upper pubic areas. So like that little pouch that appears on a fat person, just above the genitals but below the stomach, that's the fupa.
Oh,
And apparently for fat people, that's an erogenous zone that only they have.
I see.
Yeah.
That's weird, Dev.
Okay. I have inflammatory bowel disease. Here's how it affects my sex life. So I have actually read this one. I read it years ago on the Weekly Sip. It's basically it's a guide on how to have anal sex while you're just shitting yourself and having constant diarrhea.
I mean, that's a problem, I guess. But what is the solution? Just keep going?
I mean, you could use it as lube, right?
Dev, ban, Dev, ban.
Okay. What else do I got here? Let's see. Hold on. I learned how to be an ethical slut through polyamory. Okay, like they're just like trashy. It's getting old now, I think. Oh, and that's right. That's right. Right before all of this went down, a notable non-binary queer artist and a former Vice contributor was sentenced to 90 months in
Heresy's
federal
the
prison
question.
after
Fire is
arranging
the
to rape
answer.
a 9-year-old boy. It was a they/them non-binary male, and he was the person who wrote a lot of these articles. So there you go.
That's terrible.
I have lost. Shit.
When are you bringing him over to the right? The little red bridge.
That's how it is, Arch.
I'm just
Heresy's
glad
the
Vice
question.
is dead.
Fire is the answer.
It's another tombstone on the long and proud journey towards not leftism. And that progress is marked exclusively by tombstones, Dev, not defectors.
So I know that they went bankrupt back in May of 2023. They were bailed out by what was it? They got $400 million from Fortress Investment and the Soros Fund Management. Okay. All right, conspiracy theorists, let it all fly, dude. Get it all out. Talk about the Soroses. Talk about George Soros. Go ahead. Okay. So, yeah, basically what happened, they went bankrupt. They got some money to try to stay afloat, but it's been 9 months and they're already done. Like it was always like all of these outlets have been on life support for so long, and they're always getting like new investors, and they're getting bought out, and they're being sold, and like nothing is working because no one actually likes the product that they create.
Yep. Absolutely. It's a miracle
Right,
they stayed afloat for as long as they did.
Yeah. Sorry for hijacking your segment, though. So, what do you got planned for this?
Nothing. Mice is just dead.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah. I figured you'd provide something. Fact
Well, I mean,
about
I did.
Stones wasn't what I was expecting, but it was something.
But yeah, I mean, I think Vox is still around. Vox will probably die. BuzzFeed is gone. I mean, I think Gawker's gone at this point. I know that like Gawker didn't completely die when Hulk Hogan fucking
I
smashed
have
them,
lost.
but they're pretty much gone. Like, I have no clue how Kotaku's still around. Like, they got to keep being sold to like someone, right? Like somehow
Heresy's the question.
somehow Kotaku is
Fire
back.
is the answer.
Well, they killed off a lot of more political stuff, and they focused more in on the let's just write guides for games thing constantly. Which probably did help for a while, at least, you know, if they just focus in on that exclusively. Because that's what all of them do by this point. They just kind of... You know when there's a puzzle in a video game and you Google it and there's like 55 web pages that all have the same answer? That's what all of them are doing now. They're just cannibalizing each other's content continuously.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's all we wanted them to do, though. Like, we always simply wanted these outlets to talk about the games. And if after like 10 years of a fucking beating, they're finally talking about the games, that's an improvement, isn't it?
It is an improvement, but again, Dev, progress is marked by tombstones. Dev will understand this one time, that extremism has its place. Right, let's just wrap it up there with a few last super chats then. Kairos S, Hail Arch and Dev, 3 things turned me against the progressives. Their reaction to COVID, the BLM riots, and now their hatred towards the Jews. That is the holy trifecta.
I'll be back in a second. I am gonna start up my stream, BRB.
Skull Throne 888. Dev agrees with a shit it post. He agrees with shitting yourself whilst you have anal sex too. He's weird. Raining Terror, Purple Woman, all your verbal communist diarrhea are all bad takes. But are they hot takes? That's the real question. At end of Lady Columbia, yeah, ask Arch about logistics of ASML chips. No one says Chip Act, semiconductors plus nepotism, tariffs, deregulations instead of subsidizing. Subsidization is bad. I don't know enough about it, but I would prefer it if it wasn't subsidization. McCall 11, TMSC cannot open US factories, incompetent workers. Tenor, Dev, are you the professional cuck? Was that Dev? Who knows? McCall 11, Vice was random perverted commie titles generator. Does sound like it. Contro Dim, Dev Phil Labonte would completely destroy some of your ideas philosophically. If you're really friends, when will you be on the Timcast? When will Dev be on the Timcast? PI, Dev, go to the gym. It will help in the long run. And Skullthrone 888, Dev, does Arch saying no mean nothing to you? It does mean nothing to Dev. Dev has demonstrated this multiple times now that he does not care about consent. He just doesn't care. He just runs right over it. I think this is something he learned from Naomi the very first time they had Peggy Peg. Disgusting. And Reese Smith, Dev, what is the name of your stream? It will be redirected from this one, so if you're interested, you will be automatically moved to Dev's stream the moment I close this one. Which, now that we are through all the super chats, I might just do. Thank you all very much for watching, chat. And we will see
I've returned.
You all again soon. Too late, Dev. I'm killing it.
Oh, okay. Goodbye.
And thank you. Dev spoke to me, and now I don't remember how far through my outro Maya was. Thank you for watching. and for your generous donations. Remember, Dev is a communist. And come back next week. Have a good